Hello and good evening for the last round of the ACRL GT3 Championship here in 2018. And we're currently 15 minutes left, just about 15 minutes left in this practice session before we go to a qualifying session. And first of all, I want to take you through a couple of things. Let's start with the Drivers' Championship, which is probably the most important thing right now. Here it is. And in first place we have Jacob Charcot, and he is already on 569 points. Now I can tell you that that is enough points for the overall win, and Jacob has also won already the Split 1 Championship, so great congratulations to Jacob for an excellent drive. He has been driving with about 40 kilograms of ballast for most of the season. Hasn't had seen too many wins, just one for now, but has been second and third throughout the whole season, and it's been a terrific drive. Let's see what he can do today as well, though, in the Lamborghini, which seems to be a difficult car on this track. And there are some other interesting things going on. We have Philippe Simard in second place currently, and we have Albert Sultan in third. And Rune Janssens in fourth place, and they can each maybe get a second place in the championship. So we'll have to see about that as well. That means that if Albert finishes first place this race, then Philippe needs to be P4, and if Rune finishes first, then Philippe has to be finish in fifth place or higher, and from Albert and Rune, whoever beats the other will be either second or third in the championship. So there you go, quite a mouthful. So I want to show you this little screen just to make it clear. So who is the 2018 champion? Jacob Charcot, the number 55 car, usually driving with a yellow lime green Lamborghini skin, but there you go. So also want to go over the team championships, and let's see. Oh, before I introduce my co-commentators, there's quite a lot to go through. So here are the team championships, but with me today are Pierre Schlager. Hello, Pierre.
Hey ho.
And Aaron Vaffel.
Hello, pleasure to be here.
So we're with three guys today. Of course, guys. That's many girls. Yeah, thank you both for joining us. We're looking right now at the team championship standings. Let's see if we can say anything useful about that then. Give me a second for that. So currently in first place is ZR Racing number 1, and in second place is Supernova Racing number 1. And in third place Total Ballast Racing Team. So yeah, I'm not sure who's gonna win this. There's quite a few points between them, and there's a drop round, and you know all that stuff. And the server just dropped out, I think.
Yeah, for me it's the same.
But well, we'll see. Maybe we can give you some indication of who won that little thing later on. Let's go through a little trailer before we get back to the final 10-ish minutes of the practice session. See you in about 2 minutes. And we're back. It says the practice session is still about an hour, but there's only about 10 minutes left. In reality, about 9, I think. We're still here though. And let's then look at the current track conditions. So round 8, the last round of the 2018 GT3 Championship here with ACRL, Nordschleife, Nürburgring. And it's a very long track, of course. It's very famous, so I probably don't have to tell you too much. As we currently see in the background, our championship winner, Jacob Chakot. 25 kilometers, about-ish, sort of, I tried to figure out. But air temperature then, 16 degrees. It's pretty cold. That means that probably most drivers will be on soft tires. And currently the track is still slow, but it should be getting grippier pretty soon. There's a bit of wind as usual, southwest. We're still in Europe, so that's probably what you will see most of the time. And as drivers are going on an outlap, maybe they can set about 1 lap before we go into the practice session. Today we have 49 check-ins. That means 2 servers here in Europe, of course. There's also a North American server. And about 25 drivers then on this server today here driving the GT3 on the Nordschleife. As usual, the pit window starts 15 minutes after the race start and ends 15 minutes before the race ends. But today the race is 90 minutes long. So that's a bit of a difference. Now, I don't know about you guys, but have you done any practicing for this race by any chance?
Not me personally, no. When I saw the race calendar, my first thought was, okay, so I won't be doing the last race.
Well, I did some practice, but yeah, only today, as I was working on something else and stuff. So this is quite bumpy and quite tricky. And I guess we're gonna see a lot of cars actually doing some spins or having some moments. And also very dark today because of the weather.
Well, right now I'm looking at sunshine. Earlier we were looking at overcast weather, but right now it seems to be sunny, so...
Okay, well then we're having some different weather, I guess.
I guess so.
But for me it's like almost sunset. So...
Interesting.
Well then, if you say so, it's sunny.
We will believe you. Yeah. Yesterday we had a practice event for just to acquaint yourself with driving in traffic on this track, and we had Jakob Charcot, Philippe Simard, Albert Sultan there, and even they were struggling, spinning, hitting walls, all that stuff. So it should be a good race.
Yeah, of course, very tricky track. Not all the drivers have much experience on this track. I saw, for example, Timmy ASD saying he had no experience apart from a bit of Gran Turismo, I believe. So it'll be very interesting to see where he ends up, for example.
He also hit the wall several times yesterday. Every time I spectated him, he was hitting something.
So one thing that drivers must take into account, of course, is the consistency. And when you make a mistake, especially at this track, it can cost you greatly. The walls are so close by. Still seeing quite a few medium tires. I wonder what those cars are. Let's have a look. Calamite currently in the pits in a what is that? An Audi. We have another Audi. See a McLaren, I think, on mediums. A few McLarens on mediums, so that's interesting. And a Ferrari of Ace Rod, as well on mediums. So yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe they're doing some kind of long run test, or just testing how mediums would work out. So, because when you're running on softs, it could be quite tricky to get one-stopper working. So maybe they're actually trying to do a one-stopper with mediums so they're safely through. But yeah, we will see how it works out, I guess.
They might be looking at using mediums for 6 laps, and if my calculations are right, it should be about 11 laps, and then softs for the last 5.
Well, that's interesting. I spoke to Philippe Simard earlier, who told me that he might go for a one-stop on softs, so both stints with soft tires, or perhaps if he would was able to build up a great lead, then he might go for a two-stop, in fact. But well, we'll see how it turns out. It's anybody's guess at this moment.
Yeah, true. But yeah, remembering some races I did, the softs are pretty much done at like the 30-minute mark. So seeing people doing more than 30 minutes on softs, it's going to be quite interesting because the track is really demanding on grip.
Yeah.
There's a lot of corners, a lot of fast corners, a lot of corners where the balance of the car and the grip is really important. So actually seeing people doing one stop on softs is going to be really risky.
Well, it has worked in the regular season, although those races were 15 minutes shorter. And it depends on the car. The BMW, for example, maintains balance pretty well, even on worn softs.
Yeah, it's been different. I remember the first race of the season, I was kind of surprised that the softs kind of outlasted the mediums in some way. I think it was pretty cool back then as well. And in other races it would really go off a cliff maybe 5 or 10 minutes before the end of the race. So yeah, I think 90 minutes is indeed quite a stretch. But of course, yeah, you need track position, so it's hard to overtake.
I expect most of the lap to just be progressing in a single file row and everybody waiting for the long straight to see what they can do.
Probably. Well, there are a couple of straights, of course. There's also the straight up the hill towards the carousel. Maybe, you know, if you can get a draft, you can put your car next to another car. It's pretty tricky up the hill, of course, but you know, still. And if anyone makes a mistake, of course, you might as well take the opportunity to overtake, of course. But yeah, and of course there's the GP section as well. If you go into the main straight and then maybe into the Dunlop hairpin, right about halfway through the GP track, maybe you can do something there. But we'll see. And we have the first guy setting a lap. Of course, these are all out laps. It doesn't mean too much. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a slower pace in broadcast terms today. There are still only 3 splits, so we can only give you an update about every 3 or so minutes about that. And yeah, the track is so long, so you know, we can't really see everything that's happening, but we'll try to make the most of it. And I guess, well, we'll keep this as a sort of academic practice. Before we go to qualifying, I want to show you a quick little trailer again. A different one. This one is made by the Audioloids. They did a few of the sounds that you are currently hearing, and well, just check it out and see for yourselves, and we'll be right back. And we're back again. Still a practice session going on. Some drivers setting some laps. Yeah, who are looking good today? Well, of course the usual suspects are carrying a lot of weight this time around. Well, as they've done before, but the Lamborghini's looking pretty... Well, not the greatest, I must say, in looking at pre-qualifying so far. Also, we have a few...
He will be good in the race. I'm pretty sure about that, at least when they get on the straights.
Probably. Yeah, it's
also, if Thomas is not carrying any ballast, then that Nissan might be good. I'm not sure, I haven't driven it around here.
Yeah.
But it is also pretty easy on its tires and has good acceleration.
That's a good point. Although, of course, it's very cold for the Nissan, who's not too good at warming up the tires. So we'll have to see about that. But yeah, let's kind of go through the list then, as we see a couple of new names. We have Man with Garbage in a Ferrari. Haven't seen him in first split. Well, we spectated him earlier. We have Nico Penanen. Hope I pronounced it right. We saw him in ACRL being pretty active earlier on, but I haven't seen him this season. He's driving a Ferrari right now. We have Pisani again in the BMW. Glad to have a BMW. Ronnie Janssens is back. We have Blame, of course. We have Edda. We've seen him not the entire season, but we've seen him a few races. We have Jelle Wolters again. Seen him last race, of course. Speedman. I'm not sure if I have seen him. Great looking moustache card there. Lukian Prochnika. I think I remember the name, not sure to be honest. Glubczynski is back. Then we have Filip Simardiov, Thomas Tatela, who's been doing really well in the Finnish championship. Also has been wanting to drive some more, but it's been difficult. Calamity crashes out into the barrier. So he hasn't been here all race, has Thomas Tatela, but he's here now. And yeah, doesn't seem to have any ballast at the moment. Not sure if that's a mistake. There was some rule about 60%. If a driver would be taking part less than 60% of the races, then they would carry ballast depending on their performance or whatever. So I have to see about that as well. And I think the others we have seen. Ronnie Brunson is back as well. We have Sylvain Villiers, who we saw for the first time in the first split last race. And I think that's all the drivers. Rob Lewis was, I think, the reason that the server restarted earlier, as he didn't seem to have been checked in properly, but now he is. So 26 drivers then for the final round of this GT3 championship. And well, qualifying could start any minute, but who knows? And something happens with the server. And welcome back. We are waiting for the server to reload. There's about 4 minutes of practice. And let's head back to the track then. There we are. So, 3 and a bit minutes, and then finally the qualifying session will start. I don't think any of the drivers will go out to set a lap, maybe to feel a bit for the conditions, which are still more or less the same, but you know, we can have a look, so we shall have a look. Here we go. So, 90-minute race, as was said earlier. Still air temperatures about 17 degrees. And should be similar for the race. It can vary a bit, but overall it should be similar. And we have the clouds back as well, so.
So now it's dark for you as well.
Yeah. was
kind of surprised me. Kind of surprised me that it was sunshine for you and clouds for me, because it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's weird. This has happened before in ACRL. I remember some off-season race. And one driver going out. Which is Pinanen. Good looking skin, I must say.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he put much work in it. He shared many pictures in the Discord. And yeah, there were many versions of the skin. And seems he finally decided on one of his 8 or 9 versions he had, I don't know.
Proper
but it
finish.
looks good,
yeah. It's that nice blue and white with a touch of orange or bronze or gold, whatever it is. And of course the Nokia finish. Is it finish? Should be.
But it's very clean, it's very clean.
Yeah.
I like the skin to be clean. Not so many stickers, but enough to make it look like a proper race car.
Absolutely.
And of course the windshield sticker on top, the GT3 ACRL sticker.
Yeah, it's nice to see that.
Yeah, those are some little details that make it even more special.
So we follow Nico around the GP track on the back straight, heading towards the chicane. Let's watch on board with him in a moment. And in the Ferrari then, going through the chicane, and then after that you go into a left-hander onto the Nordschleife part. It's a bit bumpy here, mid-corner. And then you go, you try to brake with 2 wheels outside the white lines, just when the barrier ends, and then you turn in for the first turn of the Nordschleife. You go down the hill. And then this next part, I think is called Hatzenbach. Right here. There's a left and then a right, and then you try to sort of hug the apex at first, try to get on sort of early. There's a couple of more direction changes until finally you have this left-hander, you go a bit on the curbs, and then you turn in pretty early here to go down the hill on towards Flugplatz, and he takes a lot of curb, a bit too much, goes off the track, and decides to abandon it with half a minute left before the qualifying session starts. Calamity out on track, we've seen him before, of course. Currently number 1, I think, in the team championship standings. Alongside LSX, who's not here today.
Some drivers doing practice starts. Roon, for example, and Jakob too before.
Alright, and qualifying then is on the way. Who's going out first? I see Thomas Tatela, the first to go out then. Behind him I see Rune Janssens, and who's that behind him? That is Tom. Then Milos Pavlovic behind him. All the drivers go out. So yeah, it's a bit of a long out lap today. Unfortunately, it wasn't really possible to get the short GP track as a sort of out and in lap. That's something maybe for a future thing in AC or ACRL, but for now we have to deal with this, and well, we can freely talk about any kinds of strategies or interesting things that the drivers might be facing this race. Most drivers at the moment on medium tires then. Though they are still in the pits, and I expect them all to do to be on soft tires as the temperatures are so low. It's currently 14 degrees air temperature, so even lower as both the drivers of Pavlovic and Tom go wide. And Pavlovic is trying to overtake Tom, trying to get a track position on him. Tata in a fancy new skin, but it looks a bit JRM. So through Hatzenbach then, let's walk you around the track during this lap. So the last pass of Hatzenbach. Trying my best German. Please correct me, Pierre, if I make a huge mistake.
Sure.
So down the hill, and then at the top of the hill in a few seconds here is the start of Flugplatz, and that's the reason why it's called that, as the front of his car goes all the way into the air. And we have seen in real life some cars get into the air. Then down the hill, this is the fastest part of the track. It's not the long back straight towards Schwedenkreuz. And the little kink here, or the slower corner, the right-hander here is Arenberg, and then we go down the hill again. Very twisty bit. It's hard to set up an overtake, although you know, there's only one line pretty much, like these three little kinks, and then you go down the hill. You get a lot of compression, and then the car becomes light, so it's very tricky to brake here. You want to use a bit of the curb but not brake too hard, as you will unsettle the car, and you are in Adenauer Forst. Slowest bit, no, not entirely the slowest bit, that will come later. And already you've done 7 kilometers. And then
you can already see people having even problems getting into the actual timed lap. Many runoffs. Like Thomas was about to start like with people behind him, and now he's already running on his own. So you see there are many people having actual problems to keep the car on the track, even though it's not even the timed lap yet. So yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and they only get about maybe 1 or 2 chances this qualifying session. Of course they have to do an in-lap as well. That is one of the rules. And Thomas then drives down the hill. This is where the real life place of Adenauer is. The road goes underneath the track there, and then you go up the hill, and this bit sometimes it goes down, but it's mostly up the hill, this part, all the way to Hohe Acht, and Hohe Acht being the fastest part of the highest part of the track. And this is where that long climb starts from Bergwerk, and then all the way to the carousel. They go through the carousel and then on towards Hohe Acht. So quite a climb. Cars won't be doing their top speeds here, and sometimes drivers set up the car so they don't top out in the highest gear. I think we have Thomas. I can barely see it, but I think we have him in 5th gear. We see the lights blinking, so he's trying to keep the revs high, so it has maximum power to climb this pretty steep hill. Oh, a little bit of a moment. 2 wheels into the grass, and then brake for this right-hander. The Steilstrecke, I think it is, and then a bit of a twisty bit towards the carousel, one of the most famous corners on this track. It's very bumpy. There are these concrete blocks here, and it's you might want to be very careful. You sort of want 2 wheels on that tarmac bit, but if you do it if you do it a bit too much, then it might unsettle the car very easily, and you'll have oversteer. So here then, very fast kink, almost full throttle. on the left and then towards the right. And then we arrive to Hohe Acht, and then from here on out it's all the way down the hill again till they get further down on the GP track. So we have Planschgarten, I think it is. Which is actually a bit further on. This corner where he's arriving right now is, I think, nicknamed YouTube Corner. Here we are, as that's one of the corners we see a lot on YouTube, cars crashing out. And then I think it's a third gear corner up the hill here. They go down, and then we arrive at Planschgarten. The last bit of this track. Still very bumpy. This is very tricky. You want to keep it to the left side of the track. Here again, you'll jump a bit maybe. And there you go. The front of his car lifts entirely, even though it's the engine is in the front. And then a very popular camping site towards the left of Thomas here. And early turn in for the last bit of the track, coming up towards the slow carousel, the small carousel, Schwalbenschwanz. Very bumpy on the exit. And then one corner left to go. Kalgenkopf towards Dottingenhohe, then the very, very long straight. And you can see his speed slowly climbing. It's still a bit downhill, but then halfway through the long straight, you'll start climbing the hills. You can see it climbing towards the camera. And the speed actually kind of drops a bit. We can see, if you look at the bottom of the screen. And then downhill again. Let's see where it tops out. It's sixth gear. Braking. For the last chicane on towards the GP track. And Thomas then about to set a fast lap, or start his fast lap here at the Nordschleife track.
That's already a really good outlap, considering it's 8:15. Not bad.
Not bad. I expect him to do a bit faster. I think he did about 8:13 in pre-qualifying, which is of course with a similar amount of grip, but also higher temperatures and different tires. So expect him to do a bit quicker.
Want to make any bets on what the time will be for P1?
Maybe we'll go into the 8:09s.
That low, really? I was thinking 8:11 maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you're right.
But if you did 8:15 on an outlap, then yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he waited before he went out, of course.
So track grip is almost 89% now. And I don't think that anybody in pre-qualifying did sub 10, sub 8:10.
Let's have a look at that.
So, well, I think in quali it's gonna stay. It's gonna stay at 8:10 or higher. But I think in race we could see some people switching to softs, or even in the late part of the race, that maybe cross the 8:10s mark.
There were a few drivers who stayed in the pit until Thomas finished his lap, waiting for a gap in traffic and for the track grip to climb a bit. So who knows?
Yeah, that's a smart move. It doesn't climb too fast, of course, but still, it might
They
help.
were 98% now.
It started at 97.8 and climbed 0.2%. So it's noticeable for these guys.
There's a bit of a southern wind, so that means a bit of a headwind on the Dottingenhohe straight. That's interesting.
And you also have to keep in mind that it maybe sounds like a little increase, like a very small increase, but you have to keep in mind that this is like over 26 kilometers of a lap. So actually, when people saying that they are 1 second apart from each other, that's actually not that big of a gap. Because seconds don't really matter here, like milliseconds. Because actually you divide people in seconds. Because the track is so long and it can do so many little folds that increase or decrease your time.
Yeah, absolutely. We have yet to wait, I think, about 20 more seconds before we see the first splits. Looking at the pre-qualifying times, while we still can, I see Jacob Chacot with a 8:11, Simar with an 8:12, half a second of Chacot, and Tatala with an 8:13, which I think he said was about what he could get out of that car. So the Nissan seems to be a bit behind at least the Audi and the Lamborghini.
But that was on mediums.
Absolutely.
Game on softs.
Yeah, that's right. So Nissan might be a bit less disadvantaged on softs compared to mediums. Fastest McLaren I see was Rune Janssens with a 8:14.5. So fastest first sector is currently by Milos Pavlovic, and for Team Blackwing he set a 3:16.2, while Tadla set a 3:16.5. It's a very twisty bit, of course, so I expect that maybe in the maybe on power the Nissan will be a bit better in the second split. We'll have to see.
Blame is also on a good first sector. He's only 2/10 slower than Pavlovic, and he's driving in the Lambo.
Very promising indeed.
And he also got 15 kilos of ballast. So Blame is actually the fastest so far.
Well, Chacot is now
not
faster
time-wise, but
in the first sector with a 15.7 then.
Oh yeah, and he has 40 kilos of ballast, so that's even more interesting.
Yeah, once again. Now it has been corrected, by the way, that Tatala has 40 kilograms of ballast. We didn't see him having any ballast earlier, so that has been fixed then. Was a bit confused about it, but that clears it up.
What surprises me that there are actually people still staying in the pits, like people like Albert Sultan, and I see an Audi.
I believe they pitted after their outlap, or perhaps reset the pits and won't be coming out again.
Yeah, like Albert Sultan didn't do a time lap yet. It was his outlap. It was a 9:43.
Yeah.
And now he's in pits, so maybe he's just waiting for, just to do one outlap. Maybe he's going out at the 10-minute mark, do one outlet, and then one time lap in the end. Oh well, now he's going out. So
yeah, that would make sense.
Maybe his intention, just to do one lap with the maximum grip that he could get.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you want to finish your outlap before the finish flag drops, but yeah, also if you don't have to do your in lap, then you have to fuel less, of course. I've done that earlier, and it has gave me some pole position. So you know, yeah, it's a good strategy, I would say. I don't think that Tatala, for example, will be able to set another lap after this, as he won't be able to cross the line within 2 or so minutes to do another in and out lap. No, that doesn't even make sense. So he would need 16 and a bit minutes in order to do that. So as we see his car jump again. Oddly enough, it's a German skin for Tatala.
Is it?
Well, by the looks of the flag on top of his car.
Maybe it's a German driver. I don't know any brand that's called GRM in Germany. But, well, good to see.
Well, GRM Racing, it says on his rear wing. Maybe that's his Team and I Racing that he races for. Not sure.
Maybe, but I haven't downloaded any skins since the second race. And it is loaded for me, so I guess it's an in-game skin from Kunos.
Yeah, perhaps.
Perhaps. I mean, we don't know. But good to see some German flags out there.
Yeah. Fastest second sector then at 2:13.3. Tatala not his fastest second sector. Been a bit slower. So
quite a bit slower.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what Albert Sultan will do, because one timed lap at such a long circuit, he has to make sure he does no big fault to get in front. I mean, strategy-wise, it's all perfect, but he has to make sure no faults. So he even has a chance, because if he makes a fault, he has no chance to do a second lap or something.
And we have an 8:13.0 for Tatala, but then Pavlovic goes with the 8:10 already. Rune Janssens 8:11 in between Tatala and Pavlovic, but then Blame as well with an 8:12. Let's see if I can set up the camera a little better. So here you go.
If Pavlovic improves again, we could actually see sub-10s in the quali actually. But he just made a fault, braking on the grass in the entry. So it could be a bit tricky for him to get another improvement. But things look promising. McLaren's seem really strong here.
All the drivers crossing the line currently. Not sure who they are. Lukian Prochnika, I think. And Vega, probably.
And there's the first sub-10 from Charcot.
Well, there you go. Who else than Charcot, the championship winner already here in the lime green Lamborghini, passing us. Behind him is Pasm going over the line in the Audi. 7th place currently. So Tatala then only 6th. Of course, still 40 kilograms of ballast, but so has Charcot. And 3.5 seconds is Tatala off Charcot at the moment. Quite surprising.
So Charcot's lap was really impressive. He did purple sector 1 and 3, and he was only 3/10 of Pavlovic's time in sector 2. So, yeah, really good time. I think there's not really much you can gain. And Pavlovic, and especially like the McLarens and Audis, gonna have a hard time catching him. Really impressive time.
Yeah, absolutely. Calamite then in 6th place. Goes over the line. We have Pisani do a personal best. He's currently in 13th place in the BMW, of course. I'm glad to see we have one BMW. Also, we have, I think, one AMG. It's his Jelle Wolters. Currently in 21st place. Has not been able to set a fast lap yet. He is on a lap. Let's have a look with him. It says he's on an out lap, in fact.
So in fact, he's trying the same strategy as Albert Sultan is doing.
Yeah.
Maybe unwilling, but yeah. Maybe he's lucky with his AMG.
Who knows? All the drivers then on soft tires, as will be the logical choice. And well, the outlap gives him 17th place for Jelle Wolters, of course, but he's just starting his flying lap right now. Rune Janssens into the pits has only set 1 lap. I wonder if Tatala is trying for another lap. Maybe whether he fueled up or not, I'm not sure. I don't think the tires will last too well. He's already 1.5 seconds off the pace, and I don't think he'll be setting on a faster lap. Who then are on a fast lap?
Philippe Simard seems to be doing a good lap. His first sector was only a 10th of Jacob Charcot, and grip is increasing.
Yeah, although only slightly, of course. A bit of correction oversteer for Simard, going up the hill. And I hear then we have a lot of drivers in the chat, so don't have to drive too much. We hear then Rune Janssens that only fueled up for 1 lap. And at the end of lap 2, the tires go down by 97 100%, so that's not very useful for Tatela, for example. Ace Rod we saw spin earlier, although I think he might be trying for another lap. Sorry for the lack of consistent information. We don't have much more than you have, except for a couple of split times, and it's hard to say where all the drivers are. Although I do see some green sectors. I see a green sector from Rens de Kok, as well as Adder for the first split. Ronnie Bronson, currently in 15th place, did a 317.7 personal best in the first sector. We have Vega with a 320.1. Man with Garbage with a 317.8. And Penanen with a 318.1. Not the fastest, but I think Man with Garbage is already then preparing for the race, looking by his medium tires. And Simar with the last section of the track to go. Let's watch on board with him. And keep it towards the left and use a bit of this curb. You can't run on all the curbs except for the flat bits, but yeah, the other curbs are pretty steep and you don't want to hit them too much.
It's going to be really close on time for Tatela and especially Charcot if they want to do another lap. He's currently 4 minutes 45 into his lap and he only has 2 minutes 41 left to actually finish his cool down lap.
Yeah.
And his current lap is already many tenths down, many seconds actually down. Almost 5 seconds down on his first attempt, so it's gonna be a close one for him. And now there's already danger in front because a McLaren spun. It must have been Adder, I guess. Yeah, it was Adder. And he's now stopping the car, returning to pits, so quali's over for him as well.
Yeah. Simar with just a couple more corners to go before he gets onto the long straight. Tops out 4th gear and on towards 5 and eventually 6th gear in Dottingerhoa. 2 green sectors, of course, no purple sectors for him, so I'm not sure.
Oh, and Pavlovich spun as well in his cooldown lap or whatever it was. So maybe he has some damage and maybe won't be able to do another lap. It looks fine by the steering, but his front engine hood thingy is wobbling a bit. So there is some damage in the front.
And we watch Simar go over the line with the 811.1, so that's for the moment a pole position for Charcot. Couldn't be any better for him, I guess.
Yeah, Charcot won't make it over the line in time. So this is it for him.
Yeah. There's no way he's gonna make that.
Tatela's on the end of the Döttinger Höhe, and he might be able to just cross the line in time.
Alright. But I think this is his in-lap, isn't it?
Might be, I don't know. I mean, he was pushing the air out of the car.
Yeah.
So maybe he's trying to get it over the line. No, he's going into the pits.
Yeah, so no more laps for him then. We see Timmy ASD. He's on a flying lap as well as Petrol. Was a bit behind him. Petrol also then with a bit of damage. Nico Penanen is on the final bit of the lap. 2 personal best sectors. Through Schwalbenschwanz near the campsite.
First 2 sectors of Team ASD actually look really good.
That is a 316.7.
Oh, and he lost it. And he
no.
lost it.
Yeah, there he goes. Very unfortunate. I think he will keep going because he's still at 26th place and he will want to improve. Let's go back with Penanen then. Some cars are nearing 300 kilometers an hour. I think that will be the Lamborghini. Yeah, the Ferrari does maybe 290 at most.
Albert's first sector, not really spectacular. 1 second off the pace.
And Benanen over the line with an 817.0 in 12th place. I see Rob Lewis is still out. He's pretty early on in the lap. Jelle Volt is then towards the end of the lap. And I think we had Petrol and Timmy. Well, let's follow Timmy ASD. I think he's slightly in front of Jelle at the moment. And Sultan, where is he? Pretty early on the track as well. Ace Rod finishes his lap in 19th place with an 824.2. And Jelle then almost catching up to Timmy ASD on the straight.
It's gonna be a hard task for Sultan to get this lap in and finish in the top 5. Right now there's no purple sector or anything. So we have to see what the second sector says.
Yeah. And then through the last chicane with a bit of oversteer goes Timmy ASD, correcting the car, going onto the GP track. Yeah, it's not going to be the best of times. It's 820.2, 17th place for him and Jelle Wolters. So we've lost. Let me find him in 11th place then. 815.7. Not too shabby. And who then are on a lap? We have Rob Lewis, we have Glubshinsky, we have Sultan, man with garbage on medium tire. So I think he's just checking out the grip levels for the race, probably. On the Dodinga Hoa then is Petrol. And watch the road, man. I saw a 288 on the speedometer. Bit of ballast, of course, for him. That slows him down a bit.
Second sector of Sultan is also not really impressive. 1 second down on Simad, who is in 3rd.
Yeah. And Petrol then 17th for him, 17.6. Let's watch then with Sultan.
If you compare him to his Lamborghini partner Blame, Sultan is way slower than him. Sector 1 looks to be kind of close, but Sector 2 he's almost... Yeah, in Sector 2 he's more than a second down, if I'm looking at this correctly.
Of course, 30 kilograms of ballast for Sultan.
Yeah, but Blame has 15, so that's no real excuse. No big.
You'd think so, yeah.
In Sector 2 is a kind of cornerish stuff, so high speed doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
It depends. Maybe he did some slide or something. Who knows?
Or perhaps today just Spaniards are disappointing in football and in racing.
Perhaps. Speaking of Spanish, we don't have the teammate of Albert Sultan, Tony Rubigiojo, who we interviewed in the previous races. Also, when the race is finished, 90 minutes and a bit more from now, please do stay for the driver interviews. We'll try to make sure to get a couple of drivers after the race. It's very quiet as we wait for Sultan to reach the camera on the top of the long straight. Here he goes on the bridge. We see him almost hit 300. I saw him 300.
That's mad. 300 in a GT3?
Yeah.
Not bad. That's probably the reason why he was a bit slower in the Sector 2, because he's all on straight line speed.
Maybe, let's see, with the 814.2, that's 10th place for him. Exactly like he said he would. And Rob Lewis, Glubczynski.
Oh, and now he's 11th.
And now he's 11th. So
They made him a liar.
we still have Rob Lewis then.
Oh yeah.
Final driver to cross the line. All the rest of the drivers have either pitted or finished their final laps. Braking very hard. It's very tricky braking. It's bumpy. You have to turn.
You could get into the top 15 actually. Oh, is he? Oh no, now he's sub the 15s.
Yeah, 17.5. It's 19th place for him. So there we have it. Let's take a look at the results. There you go, with Jacob Charcot in pole position with the first one in the sub 18s. Milos Pavlovic in the McLaren. McLaren doing pretty well, I think, but Pavlovic also a pretty neat lap. 1 second off Charcot's lap. Then we have Simar in the Audi with 25 kilograms of ballast, of course, but still. Rune Janssens in 4th place. Looking good for both of them, both of him and... Why am I getting low free, FPS? I don't know. Looking good for Rune Janssens and Simar compared to Albert Sultan, of course. Sultan has to finish at least above Rune Janssens to keep his 3rd place in the championship. So that then are the qualifying results. Speedman and Man with Garbage did not set a lap in the end. ACRL then in 25th place, the last person to set a lap. Let's show you a little trailer and we'll be right back for the race. The final round of the GT3 season in 2018. We'll be right back. And we're back. 50 seconds to go before the race starts, a 90-minute race. Track grip is about 98%, and air temperature is currently 15 degrees. Let's show you a quick starting grid, how far we get. 30 seconds before we start. So here you go with Qual, of course, pole position. Pavlovic behind him, we have Simar in 3rd place, Janssens in 4th, Rens de Kok in 5th place, Glubczynski in 6th place, and we have Blame in 7th, Calamide in 8th place. And that's where I'll leave it, because the lights are about to go out. So enjoy this last round of the GT3, the ACRL GT3 season, and the lights are out, and we have a pretty good start, I think, from Qual. Yeah, he's driving away pretty much from Pavlovic. Pavlovic hasn't to do too much defending. Simar then loses out a bit from Rune Janssens, and behind him is Rens de Kok, his teammate. Going pretty well through turn 1, all of them. We see one car going off. That is, I think, Petrol. Petrol dropping down the field then. Qual still in 1st place, and Rune Janssens on the attack on Simar. On the outside train, with Simar defending really well. And we have Wolters going off in the background. And Vega, they're making it very tight. And Qual still in 1st place. So there's a bit of a train then happening, I think. At the moment we have Pasm and Thomas Tatela then fighting for 9th place. And behind him in 11th place is still Albert Sultan. Penanen in 12th place is right behind Sultan. Sultan defending. Trying to switch back. And is forced towards the outside, but there's pretty well side by side they go through whatever the corner is called. And there's a little kink on the back straight, and looking good for Sultan at the moment to defend this 11th place. He's the first into the chicane, and once pretty much they reach the chicane, I think all the drivers are, well, they are entering, well, I say that we have a fight actually. Between Tatela and Glubczynski, or Calamide, I'm sorry. But Calamide not making life easy, and Tatela then 8th place. Let me reset real quick. And I see Tatela's car being lifted every time in that Flugplatz. 2 drivers on mediums though. I see a total of 8 drivers. So most of them in fact on soft tire strategy. And Glubczynski right on the tail of Rens de Kok, and before them we see Rune Janssens and Simar then still very close together as well. Let's watch with them. Of course, fighting for 2nd place in the championship are Janssens and Simar. And although even if Janssens finishes 1st, Simar only needs a 4th place, so looking good for him at the moment. A lot of things going on in the background, sorry about that. We have also some fights going on. It's quite a gaggle of cars behind Prochnika with Sultan, and we have Rob Lewis, we have Timmy, Sylvain Vier. Behind him Pisani, and then Vega, and then finally Speedman. Speedman, who is also very close behind Vega on medium tires. And Tatula also, meanwhile, still over the back of Calamite for 7th place, but very hard to pass, of course. Let's see what they can do when they go up the hill towards the carousel. But here then Rob Lewis and Albert Sultan. And now it is Thomas, who is very close behind the rear of Calamite's car. And seems to have a slight edge on speed, but doesn't really get a lot of room. 2 wheels onto the grass, goes wide, goes into the barrier, has a bit of damage, surely loses a lot of speed, and Pasm then will be closing in. He's flashing his light. Thomas is angry, and either Calamite didn't see him or really tried to squeeze him, and you always leave it a space, of course, but not this time for him. And Penanen also on the back, all over the back of Pasm. Bit of correction going on for Penanen. And question... No, I don't want to mention anything, but the question is... does the glory come with the overall championship or the Server 1 championship? Well, I think most of the glory would come from the Server 1 championship. As that is mostly exponential like it is for most real life championships. The overall championship is more geared towards all the races to get everyone some points and have some kind of clear divide between you know, so it's split. 2 drivers can also take part in the championship. But well, there you go. And Calamite going wide then. I think something happened with Glubczynski. I missed that. I'm sorry. Glubczynski and Calamite, of course, on medium tires, both of them.
Also, Blame lost a lot of positions. He dropped 6 positions.
And I believe Albert got boxed in by that Blame incident and is now stuck behind Lucian Prochinka. And it seems to be absolutely wrecking Albert's strategy.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. Sultan also on medium tires then. We see Chakot on soft tires. Blame on soft tires as well. So Albert on medium tires is a bit of a surprise. Maybe he's trying something different with his 10th place.
Before the race, he described his strategy as just get to the end without crashing, which seems like a pretty good idea.
Well, overall it's a good idea if you can manage it, and well, he has had a bit of an off because he's now in 15th place. But he's clearly faster than Prochinka. And if he can keep his head down, keep calm, and we see Prochinka have a bit of oversteer, then he's about to be able to pass him maybe on the back straight. We saw Sultan have a lot of top speed.
Interesting to see there's some kind of trolley train going on behind Philippe Simard. Well, actually now he's moving up ahead, and now 2 guys passing Rune in the McLaren because he's...
Yeah, they touch. That is Calamite, I think. Yeah, Calamite and Rune Janssens. And Calamite's still driving backwards. Can he turn the car in a safe manner? He sort of can.
This can be it for the championship for Rune. Now with both of his rivals, I think, in front of him.
Sultan is still behind Janssens.
So Sultan is still behind.
Pretty safe for 3rd place at the moment, and Chakot then fastest lap, obviously, first lap, still out in front. And Rens de Kok then on Simard. Rens de Kok, I guess, got a pretty good slipstream then, and passes Simard then for the lead into turn 1, or for his 2nd place into turn 1. Sorry, 3rd place even. Pretty
nice
well done. And then Tatula and Glubczynski very close behind each other. Well, now that Calamite is out of the way, that gives a bit of space for Tatula. I say that they touched.
Did they touch?
I think they did. And Thomas will have to...
I think it was Rob Lewis who ran into the back of Albert and spun him out, and that caused a bigger crash.
So there you have it. And blame then on Glubczynski. Glubczynski seems to be taking it easy, keeping it around the outside. Very well done. Of course, you can't do that. Keep multiple lines throughout the Dunlop hairpin. And blame them today with the silverish Lamborghini. Maybe it's a bit green, I don't know. But trying to make a move, going towards the inside. He didn't make
Edder
that.
has a good run.
Yeah, and that gives Edder a chance on the inside, but then gets squeezed from Blame. And Blame surely will have the speed, the edge on him. And Rune Janssens also waiting for his opportunity to get a couple of places back. Because he surely needs that. Especially against Simar, who's now still in third. Sorry, while I say that, it was in fourth place and switched around for third place. Milos Pavlovic just dropped 2 places in the last half a lap.
In the last 2 corners, I think. It was a very quick fall. I was just about to say how impressed I was with his pace.
Yeah, never,
Might lost
never
it on the chicane.
It probably did. Shame we missed that, but Blame still all over the back of Glubczynski. Looking a bit quicker at the moment. And after this bit of the track, Hatzenbach, ooh, it goes off a bit. There is a bit of a straight towards Flugplatz and then further, so maybe he can get a bit of a run, let's see. Well, Glubczynski's defending.
Well, he's trying around the outside, that's no good idea. Yeah, he's backing off.
Yeah, there's only one line you can take through here. Of course, there's a lot of speed through the corner.
Now the fast part, maybe he can slip. He's not really gaining on him.
Yeah, you need a very, very good run to get on the inside here. And is not able to do so. Can he make a late move? No, he can't though. Rune Janssens has a look on Edder in the background. And Blame very close to the back of Glubczynski.
He braked very late. And now he has a good run. Now he's right behind him.
But is there any space? Well, he surely does put his car there.
Oh, he tries it. Now he backs off.
I think that's the best thing to do. And we have Edder going very, very deep indeed.
Oh!
Barely
was a
misses them. And that's a bit more damage from him. But Rune Janssens takes place back in 9th place now. That looks spectacular.
Let's see if Edder has any steering damage. No, it's still straight. It still looks fine for him. Though that was a big impact.
And then at the end of this lap, drivers are able to make a pit stop. As the pit will open, but yeah, I don't think many of the drivers will. Maybe if they have damage like Edder. Man with garbage in 19th place, then all over the back of Porcinica. Porcinica who has lost a bit of time, and we have, I think, Calamite then, again off the track. We watch Speedman, Vega, and then we have Calamite. Calamite with a lot of damage now. Doesn't look great. Now Yellow Volt is all over the back of him.
All of the cars in the bottom half of the leaderboard have a lot of damage. I've been trying to keep an eye on them, but they keep crashing into each other and the walls.
But I guess that's what we expected to happen, that a lot of guys crash or lose it.
Oh, speaking
like
of losing it,
21st.
Pavlovic then in 4th place, loses his car, gets back on the track, and then Thomas Tatela runs into him. He's now halfway on the track. And let's see if he can rejoin or wait for the track to be clear.
Oh, that's a bad place to rejoin.
Yeah, and,
okay.
and he goes into the pits, and that's the end of his race. Very unfortunate. He was doing so well in 3rd place, 2nd place even earlier on, and that's such a shame to see so early on in the race. We have Blame here and Glubczynski then fighting for 6th place. Blame with the faster car.
Runs wide.
Well, Simar is surely losing a bit of time, but seems to be alright. And Tatela then got the 4th place handed on to him on a platter. Well, what a crashing platter that was. And
Tatela had a lot of luck.
Did he crash into Milos when he spun
they did touch, yeah. They did.
Then it will be interesting to see how much damage he has.
Yeah. Quite high speed as well, so... And aside from Glubczynski and Janssens, there are a lot of other fights as Janssens tries to have a look left and right. There's a gaggle bit further down toward 19th and 20th place, but let's stick with Glubczynski and Janssens for the moment.
There's a large battle group around Calamite.
Yeah.
Many cars.
Quick look then. There we go. There's no way you can pass around here. But you bet every one of them wants to. Especially Calamite.
You just normally stick there and just wait until the long straight. And Calamite runs wide again.
Yeah, it does. Didn't lose him a place. And then we have it. The change for 7th place. Janssens and Glubczynski, we did miss it. Sorry for that.
Did Rune ever take him, like, on this little lifting pit, like where you lift your car in the braking zone? Actually, very impressive that you passed him there.
Yeah.
That's a very unusual place to pass because your car is really unsettled and unstable there.
Yeah, totally right, and I wish we could show you a replay right now.
Sadly, AC has no really replay option.
Not for the moment. I see Petrol behind Sultan. Sultan dropped further down. It's now in 24th place. And Petrol still doing reasonably well in his standings, so he'll be losing out a lot, as well as Sultan, of course, who is still 3rd in the championship, but not after this race. And puts his car side by side on Sultan. That was very tricky. And I think then, well, Petrol needs to get a very good slipstream if he wants to be able to do anything. And there's a car. That was Tom standing in the middle of the road. Well, you saw the speed of that. Hardly any time to react. And we see all the gaggle move towards the right in the background of your screens. Maybe you can see it or not. And I don't think we have a 3 wide. Calamite, Wolters, and I think Vega.
Chaco with a 8:11 as the fastest lap.
Yeah, already on 10 seconds is Jacot from Rens de Kok. Rens de Kok in 2nd place. Hasn't had the strongest of seasons as Rens de Kok, but now doing very well. And we see them all braking towards for the chicane. I don't know the name of it. Let's check that out.
It's called the Coca-Cola curve, if I recall correctly.
Isn't that the hairpin?
That's the last chicane before you go on the start-finish straight.
As Wolters makes a move and with garbage breaks very early and cuts out Calamite. Calamite, who's already been in a lot of incidents. Well, he thought, well, let's have another incident. Well, I don't think he did, but now fighting with man with garbage. It's pushed towards the outside, not much space. Pretty much the same that happened with him earlier with Tomas.
Meanwhile, Blame makes his way into the top 5, overtaking Possum in the GP section.
Still on the biggest train we have here for 18th place. And Jelle Wolters has gone around. Yeah, so he did touch with Man with Garbage. Man with Garbage is eventually spun out. And we have Vega off the track. Mannix overtakes him as well as all the other cars. And Sultanen holds on to 20th place from Petrol. Mannix in front of them.
Oh, and Wolters runs wide again. Shame for him, he actually did pretty good in quali.
Yeah.
And the only Mercedes in this whole split.
As for the only BMW in the top split, Pisani is in 14th, up 7 places from his qualifying position, which seems pretty good, but to be honest, I was hoping for better. The BMW very good on its fuel, so probably 15, maybe even 20 kilograms lighter than his competitors.
And Pisani and Rob Lewis. Pisani's been close to the back of Rob Lewis for a while. But hasn't been able to pass him yet. And Jansen's on then. Sorry, Dutch coming through. Persum has to defend from Jansen's, but Jansen's able to put his car side by side into this tricky section of the track going down the hill.
Oh! And we see... who was that? The Nokia car, Nico, spinning.
Uh-oh.
Now with very hot rear tires. Really big challenge to keep the car on the track. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh, and he...
Loses it.
And a big spin.
Yeah, his tires will be really, really cooked then.
He still continues.
And whoa. It went alright. Speedman just able to miss him, but then
and he squeezes him out.
Tries it and hits him. And oh, that's. I hope they can safely rejoin both of them. See Ronnie Bronson 20th place. Able to get him then on Prochnika.
Yeah, and Nico now has
wide.
Burning tires.
Losing place to Man with Garbage, and then Sultan making up places again. And Speedman on Vega. Brakes very, very late. Can he make the corner? Yes, he can. And Vega then on the attack from Sultan. As well as... sorry, that's Manux. Who's now on the attack, and Vega behind them. Oh, Sultan gets a touch. Keeps it on track. There's a bit more straight line speed. There's a bit of lag going on. Sorry, go ahead.
Man with Garbage and right behind Penanen. Penanen still with very hot tires. He's doing his best to keep it in front of them. Now building up something like a train with Ronnie Bronson. And also the Volta's Joy. Oh, and he collects him, yeah.
Yeah, that's what will happen, and very unfortunate. Of course, yeah, there isn't much space if it goes wrong, and it did a few times now.
I suspect Nico Penanen paid Man with Garbage to take out his chasers. Because that looked like an assassination.
Perhaps it was. We'll have to look into the telemetry of that. Just like they did with Schumacher, of course, in Monaco a couple of years ago. And one car going off, that's Speedman with Albert Sultan. I think they touched.
Albert Sultan hit the wall, and as he was rejoining the track, another car spun right in front of him. So he bumped him too before taking back to the track. This is like an action movie, it's amazing.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm glad we have a couple of more eyes on this. There's so many things going on at the same time, and we can show you everything, but Ernie Jansen's still pretty close to blame for 5th place. Well, we saw him being pretty close earlier, now lost almost a second again. His tires going off, perhaps? So currently, with over an hour left in this race, Chacot looking very, very solid indeed. If he wins this, he'll have 2 wins this season, which equals Simar, but has only 2nd and 3rd places. Ooh, petrol goes wide. Only second, third places otherwise. So that's well, he's champion already, but that's so obvious and very, very, very solid drive once again so far. But Simardan in third place, and if he plays his cards right and can finish like that, I think he can ensure his second place in the championship. And then we'll have Rune Jansen in sixth place, who gets the third place as it stands right now.
Another car ran off in front of Sultan. It's Penanen again.
Yeah, and immediately overtaken by Sultan then, and also man with garbage. And Bronson, will Bronson have enough speed? It's pretty equal match. Yeah, I think Penanen has quite some damage.
You almost squeezed him off, Penanen. Or Bronson squeezed him off almost.
Losing out quite a bit on top speed in the end. Is Penanen. Braking pretty early. Be careful on the brakes. You don't want to run to the back of Bronson, of course. And goes into the pits. He's the first one to make a proper pits. Previous lap, we saw Tom spin around in the last corner before the long straight. And he has ended his race, unfortunately. And we have Penanen in the pits and also Yellow Voltus.
So actually now things starting to look interesting, because if people like Penanen and stuff stop on softs now, they're gonna do another stop in half an hour. So doing a very early stop, and then do probably a stop within 30 minutes, and then go to the end. So if people continue now, we're gonna have different types of strategies, which is gonna make things a lot more interesting.
Nico has gone onto the mediums, so perhaps he just had too much damage and wanted to repair it, and is now going to do a longer stint.
We'll see. I'm still seeing softs with him, so let's see what happens when he exits the pits. That isn't always correct in that sense, I think. Meanwhile, we're still following Jacob Chacot, who's in first place by almost 13 seconds on Rens de Kok. And very consistent. His last lap was just 2/10 slower than his best lap. Well, his best lap was of course his previous lap. He's now on his fourth lap. But yeah, looking so very solid indeed. Oh, Globshinsky dropping a place from Ada.
Oh, and Globshinsky runs wide.
Goes over the track, and he avoid Ada? Yes, he can. So he got hit in quite a few sides, and Timmy ASD closing in on him. Well, for the moment he has the place, but that's not great. And indeed, Rens de Kok is the same Rens de Kok that you often see streaming. There's a link to his personal point of view as well in the description, as well as Rune Jansen's. Man with garbage then very close to Albert Sultan. Into Arenberg and then down the hill.
Chinsky dropping another place to Tim ASD. Seems like either he has quite a lot of damage or his tires are absolutely cooked.
Well, we have Speedman going off. Was very close to Prochnika, and then I think he made a mistake on his own. There's a bit of lag as well. Many incidents going on throughout the whole field. So Sylvain Villiers has been pretty close, I think, to car in front. Currently Globshinsky.
And Speedman spins out Ace Roads, which is also an interesting move. I think this race would have been improved if damage was at 100% instead of the, I think, 30 we are at right now.
Yeah, 35 I think it is, but yeah, it's a good point. Globshinsky then runs wide and Sylvain Villiers takes the place from him. Yeah, although a lot of afternoons would have been wrecked instantly if the damage was at 100%. But yeah,
Bronson now right behind Man with Garbage on the uphill section. So he's in the McLaren, but he's trying it around the outside.
Ferrari and McLaren pretty equal on top speed usually, and I think the Ferraris have to run quite a bit of rear wing this time around, where the McLarens might not have to, because to control the rear tire temperatures. And then Ronnie Bronson pretty easily takes the place.
I felt like the Ferrari was really unstable this race here. I had a lot of struggle to keep the rear on the ground, especially in the fast sections where those little bumps kept you off the line and caused you to spin. Yeah, I was driving with 6 degrees on the rear wing, and I didn't get into a split one. Because setup wise it wasn't all perfect. So you can expect the Ferraris to be running on the high rear wing, so they should be kinda nearby the McLaren's top speed wise on the straights. Maybe a bit faster though, because the Ferrari is naturally a bit faster, but
yeah, although I think the McLarens can do have a bit more options regarding wings. You're pretty limited with the Ferrari regarding the rear wing. Front split they usually just put it 1, and then the rear wing it's somewhere around 4, which is optimal. And then if you need a bit more grip on the rear, you make it a bit higher, and that's pretty much all you can do. Well, in the McLaren you can Mehmet Garbage spins out, hit the grass with his rear tire, and crashes out. Petrol takes place from him. Yeah, so pretty tricky, especially if you get your rear tires on the grass. Is the Ferrari, but yeah, the McLaren can sometimes run 0 front splitter, and there's a bit more options, and it can also run a bit lower setting of rear wing, I think, in general.
it's also an impressive drive by Team ASD. He's already up into P9, and I think he started in P18 or something. He already made up 13 positions.
Yeah, P17 I think, if he gained 8 places, but yeah, very impressive.
Well, mine is saying he gained 13, but something's wrong here, I guess.
Okay.
But still, P9 is really impressive, recalling where he started.
Yeah. Simar is pretty close to Rens de Kok, but also Thomas Tatela, so this is a fight shaping up for second place. Of course, we are nearing the pit stop window of a one-stop strategy, as Rune Janssens pits then. Maybe he goes to medium tires? I'm not sure. Have to wait and see. Ronnie Bronson on Albert Sultan, or is it the other way around? I'm not sure, but I think then Sultan will have the edge on him in top speed wise, and Bronson ducks into the slipstream as they get a bit more speed. As we have other drivers pit, Team ASD in the pits, as well as Sylvain Villiers. And eventually...
It seems like many drivers switching to mediums now. Yeah, including Rune Janssens. He switched to mediums as well.
Yeah, there you go. Going out of the pits then, losing place to Calamide is Rune Janssens. Calamide who did not stop. Let me put my mic. Sorry about that. And Tatela then right on the tail of Simar. On the back of the GP track.
Within this range of temperatures, it's going to be interesting to see if people like Janssens or even the Ferraris and McLarens, Audis get their mediums up to temperature because it's so cold.
Yeah, I wonder.
So it's gonna be a bit of a sliding adventure now for them to actually finish it. I mean, time-wise, they should be done because mediums easily last 1 hour, but it's gonna be interesting with the temps, especially when the tire degradation really starts to kick in.
Yeah, and you will probably get some graining, which is quite a substantial effect, I think. Although the damage is not at 100%, it would make a difference if it was. But you do get some graining, and that will reduce the grip by, it could be up to 2%. It's quite a lot. And Janssen then on the back of Calamide. Calamide again, who has not stopped, and Janssen's on fresh medium tires versus the older medium tires of Calamide. And
It should be easy for him.
Yeah, well, easy is not really
on the
thing on the Nordschleife, but a bit of oversteer moment for Calamide.
We've thought that overtaking in this part is impossible, but Rune has proved us wrong before.
That's true. Rune has been solid in overtaking so far. Also quite decent at defending usually, but yeah. Thomas Tatela has lost out quite a few seconds towards Simar the last few corners. And Pazam in 6th place will do a one-stop strategy. Has sneaked up there a bit. Of course, Janssens, who was in front of him, stopped already, but let's see what he can do. If he can make a later stop and go to softs, maybe he can have a slight advantage on Janssens. Though I think he'll have to overtake him then.
Janssens have to take him in a corner. He's not going to catch him on the straight. Oh, he's way too fast. Maybe into some braking areas or fast corners. That's where the McLaren is clearly faster than the Audi.
And Projanica has eventually given up then, unfortunately. Is out of the race, so we have 3 people out of the race. Projanica, Tom and Pavlovic currently.
Which is not too bad considering all the action we've seen.
That is a good point.
And now that they have all spaced out a little bit, it might actually get boring, which is not something I would have thought would happen after the first 15 minutes.
Well, whenever you say that, things are about to get interesting. And we're nearing halfway through the race, of course. We're now at 52 minutes. 45 minutes will be halfway through the race. So we expect one stoppers to stop then. And that will mix up the field a bit. And anything can happen whenever that happens.
Rune Janssens just stuck behind Calamide. Didn't really close the gap. I think he's just staying behind him and just waits for his chance to actually get past, or just waits for Calamide to actually pit.
Yeah, which he might do in the next lap. Or not, if he goes for a late stop and then switches to softs, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Maybe Janssen can get a good run as Calamide runs pretty wide. It's the curb a bit. Janssens for sure is trying to get slipstream of Calamide, but Calamide seems to be driving away slightly anyway.
Yeah, that's the power of the Audi. Just straight line speed. McLaren has no chance at all. You can just stay in the slipstream and he's not getting closer.
And we have Yellow Walters, Old Man with Garbage. Yellow Walters on fresh, soft tires, and Man with Garbage on old mediums. Or is he? Yes, he is. Has not stopped yet. And Walters then easily outdrags the damaged Ferrari. Although Walters, of course, has seen some action with his car, some going around action.
Would be interesting to know if he fixed his damage during the pit stop or not.
Yeah, it does. By the looks of it, it does look a bit undamaged. Speaking of damage, petrol. Still damaged car right on the tail of Manux. Manux has been close to petrol. I think they have been. Manux go big wide and on the inside. Yeah, who can outdrag them though? Yeah, and it's well McLaren versus McLaren, of course. Manu currently has the edge.
Petrol has some bad luck in the carousel because he bottomed out. You could see that the car just jumped.
Yeah.
So he lost some time there.
Manux using the curb then and going wide, corrects his car. Petrol setting his car on the right of Manux. This is a right-hander and then a left-hander. Can he have him? Yes, he can.
That was an impressive overtake.
Yeah, took the opportunity with both hands. And Sultan then maybe next to get Manux. Sultan on medium tires. Manux has already stopped though. Sultan as well, by the way. And Simar into the pits as well as Tatela. And Janssens. Well, Janssens has overtaken Calamite and we missed it. Sorry. He's so sneaky. But he did it. Though on the straight. And we expect Simar and Tatela to get out in front of this pair. But will they be able to do so? Still dropping a few places. Rob Lou is next to pass them. Still into the pits. Coming out of the pits now is Tomas Tatela. Simar in front of him still then. And Rob Lou is into the pits. So Pisani then in 8th place and Janssens behind him. Calamite now also pitted.
The live timing is showing that Simard actually pitted twice. I think that's wrong, is it?
Yeah, that must be wrong. For me it shows just one, so all the drivers who have stopped only stopped once currently. Drivers who have not stopped are Jacob Charcot. I expect him in the end of next lap. As well as Rens de Kok, Blame, Pasm and Adder. Pasm we're not sure, but the others will probably make a pit stop. We have Pisani currently in 8th place in the BMW. Who hasn't stopped either. And other than that, all the drivers have stopped who are still in the race. Let's see, we have Ronnie Bronson going out of the pits. In front of him is Nico Penanen, who also just stopped. And Speedman then with Man with Garbage, the last to stop of this bunch.
Did you say Nico Penanen just stopped?
Yeah, I think he did.
So was that his second stop then? Because didn't he stop a lap ago or so? For mediums.
I don't have that information, but could be.
Live timing seems to be a little not quite right at the moment. It's showing me Nico Penanen has stopped 0 times, which is wrong.
Yeah, live timing does seem to have a bit of trouble with this maybe long track, I suppose.
can't handle all the action.
Yeah, it's too much action. But so far in 19th place then for Pennanen. Lost a few places compared to the start. We also lost a few places Albert Sultan, who's a couple of corners in front of Nico. But yeah, 17th place, not doing too well. Has seen some moments, of course, as Sultan. Fortunate for him. Chakot then. Yeah, what can we say? 20 seconds, a massive 20 seconds. We're halfway through the race, so already a lead of 20 seconds from Rens de Kok. Rens de Kok in second place then. Haven't seen too much of him, but it's been very steady. Equal on pace compared to Simar. Sorry for the thing. Blame then in third place, on 13 seconds behind Rens de Kok. Then we have Pazem, who's in fourth place, getting some places now that people around him have stopped and he hasn't. Same goes for Edda, who's on soft tires and about to stop probably. Then we have Simar, who is still, I think, maybe in the third place. It's very close to Rens de Kok and him, and now that he has fresh tires he might get track position from Rens de Kok, so let's see what happens after de Kok makes his stop. And Tautelijn 7th place, also just stopped together with Simar, of course. Then we have Pisani in 8th place. Rune Janssens on the medium tires, then in 9th place. Was correcting his car there, it's pretty heavy on the steering. 10th place for Timmy ASD. We have 11th place for Rob Lewis currently with 2 medium sets of tires. Maybe the Audi medium temperatures are a bit higher perhaps compared to the other cars. I don't know. We'll maybe ask some drivers after the race. Sylvain Villiers in 12th place, also on medium tires now, right behind Rob Lewis. We have Globshinsky in 13th place. Jelle Wolters still 14th place after a pit stop. So we saw him go around earlier, of course, but also seen quite some action was Calamite. Calamite now with the... Obviously, I was just gonna say his car looks fixed, but yeah, that was quite smooth there. Petrol then 16th place, Mannix in 17th place, still in front of Albert Sultan. Albert Sultan, I expect him to be a bit quicker. Nico Pennanen in 19th place, then we have Ronnie Brunson in 20th place, Vega in 21st place, Speedman in 22nd place. There's seen quite some action as well, he's also fixed his car, I think. Vega then. Sorry, that was Speed. Yeah, I missed. Okay. Man with Garbage in 23rd place. Then we have Ace Rod, the orange Ferrari, in 24th. And Simar on Edda. That was a clean overtake. Simar seems to have quite a lot more pace compared to Edda. Maybe even Edda let him through. So that seemed very easy.
They're probably pitting this lap anyway, so they don't want to waste time fighting Philip.
Yeah, exactly. And Chakot nearing the end of this lap. Let's watch with him and see if he goes into the pits and where he comes out. Well, he might get some traffic, but I think his lead is so substantial. Whoa, going a bit wide, 2 wheels on the grass. Still going for it.
I think his tires are close to being done.
Yeah, you would
He's showing on
expect
them
so.
45 minutes now, more than 45 minutes on softs.
Yeah, by the time
While
he reaches
driving
the pits, it's 49 minutes, I think, even so.
Yeah, and he's even driving the fastest laps. His last one was 8:13. His fastest was an 8:11, but still, he's currently the fastest guy on track. So impressive stuff he is doing there.
I see Tatala though with the purple second sector. In this lap he's on right now.
Yeah, sector 2.
Must also be getting very close to Adder.
Yeah, Chakot spitting.
Indeed he is.
Adder seems to be running out of tires. Considering just how easily they caught up to him.
Yeah, now already passed by Tatala. And Rens de Kok also into the pits. So let's see where it comes out. And what will that bring between him? The fight for third place between him. Second place between him, Simar, and Tatela.
Passim is on mediums. So he should stay out and emerge into the lead. Yeah, he stays out, so this is the lead for Passim now. Oh, well, it could be a close one. Chakot is stopped.
Chakot's still in front then.
That's actually a lot of time that Chakot has at a buffer.
Yeah, so still in first place then. And Philippe Simar and Tatela going over the line. It seems that Rens de Kok is still into the pits. Yeah, he is. So Rens de Kok going out now right behind Tatela. So that has cost him that extra lap. One lap, of course, over 8 minutes. Previous lap for Simar and Tatela was 8:13. The both of them. And Blame, Edder, Pisani all in the pits right now. And Timmy AZ will probably get a few of those guys. So yeah, they're still standing in the pits, although I see Blame going out. Blame going out in front of Timmy ASD. Timmy ASD now in 8th place. And reasonably close between Adder and that is Rob Lewis. Looks like he'll keep the position though. As Pisani slots back onto the track behind Lubczynski. And Lubczynski right on the tail of Sylvain Vier. Defending then is VA for 11th place. Nice helicopter view then. Towards the Schumacher S. Bit of oversteer it seems for Lubczynski. Loses a bit of time and Pisani then getting pretty close behind Lubczynski. As ACRL sets his fastest time on this track so far. Can Lubczynski then get a slipstream? Both Audis of course equal power. Force the chicane, force towards the outside. Can they go side by side? Yes they can. Lubczynski then on the outside on Sylvain Vier.
And now Pisani in reaching distance. Right behind Villet.
A lot of damage on Pisani's car though. Fresh tires.
I wonder why he chose not to fix that damage.
Maybe he did it after his stop. And we don't actually know when he stopped, did we?
Pisani?
This lap.
Yeah, Pisani just stopped this lap, so...
okay, so... Well then, good question.
Yeah.
In the past, fixing the damage took a long time, like a minute or two maybe, but that has been rectified now. Perhaps he simply didn't know.
Might be, yeah.
Looking quite spectacular though, going through Flugplatz. The two of them so close together. There's barely a car's length between them, and well, as I say that, Pisani puts his car next to VA's. Around the outside, very tricky, very bumpy. Does he go wide? No, he keeps it on track, luckily. Braking just very hard then. All the compression here, and then the car gets very light on the curbs. Very tight line for Pisani. VA a bit out of shape there.
Yeah, he ran wide.
Through, I don't
But
know,
now got a better
Forsten.
exit.
Yeah. Cullenhart then, third gear corner in pretty much every car that I've driven here. You have to turn in very early, and this turn you have to hit the white line on the apex pretty much. You don't want to miss any apexes. This is very, very tricky. It's miss, hit, miss here. So you want to miss that first apex, then you want to hit that second apex and miss the third apex. And then towards the slowest part of the track, probably second gear for him. Yes, it is. Down the hill. And I think this would be Breitscheid. Also an entrance of the track sometimes. Very tricky. Can get you a bit of snappy oversteer up the hill there. It's very tight. There's a lot of undulation going on, and Pisani having a look. VA not having it, although
Around the outside.
did hesitate a bit. And he can.
Well, that was a nice overtake.
And Pisani then easily drives away from VA very quickly. As we have Blame and Timmy ASD. As Blame lost some time. Happened there.
He seems to have lost quite a bit of time. He was close to Rune Janssens before, but now
Yeah, did a
16 seconds behind.
3:57 in the second sector, as well as Edder though. Edder also with a 55. Maybe the two drivers got involved with each other, I don't know.
I think they pitted this lap, and that's the pit time added to
Oh,
the
you're right, I'm sorry,
first
yes.
sector.
I for a moment I thought that was the second sector, but you're totally correct.
But even his second sector time is quite a bit off what he should be doing.
For Blame it is. With 2:18, that's a few seconds off.
There's also some nice talk going on in the chat. Verstunken just said that in the 911 that 5 laps bring the rears to about 10%. And that he says he can believe that 6 lap on other cars should be possible on softs. Yeah.
Yeah, the 911 doesn't have the best
tire
weight ratio for the yes.
I mean, softs on the 911 is also a miracle to get it even working. So
Yeah.
only place where I got it possible once was on Monza, where it was cold, and it's a track where it only has like 6 corners or something, where 3 actually depend on your tires and make them warm. So
Yeah, so you'll be struggling a bit in the last sector of Monza, and then the first 2 sectors are alright. Yeah.
and even there you got overheating. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in real life the tire seems to have quite a wide margin compared to these tires that we have in Assetto Corsa. I don't know which league they took them from, which championship, but yeah, seem to be some general-ish kind of Kunos tires, shall we say.
okay, so now we should see Blame closing in on team.
Yeah, slipstream from him, and Passam is then into the pits. Half an hour to go. I expect Passam to go to soft tires with just half an hour to go. Let's see where it comes out.
No, Renz de Kock. I think he was overtaken by Thomas.
Yeah, he was.
No, he exited a bit behind Thomas, but has been catching him for the
Yes, you're right.
Ah, okay. So now he's right behind him.
And Blame then easily outpowered Timmy ASD. Timmy ASD tried to get into the slipstream, but it didn't work for him. Rens de Kock then right behind Tatala indeed, going towards the Dunlop curve, or hairpin.
And Rune Janssens just passed Passam because he was pitting, so Rune is now in 5th position, but behind his teammate.
Yeah, but Passam's still 6th. Not too bad.
Not so bad, yeah.
And Walters and Calamite making a bit of a comeback. But Pasm, with his fresh soft tires, of course the inverted strategy from Rune Janssens pretty much, now has the edge on Janssens. So that's an interesting battle to watch. And Walters into the pits then. While I said that Calamite is also on the back of VA, but let's watch this first.
Pasm looks to be faster than Rune. He's all over his rear.
Yeah, can he make a move perhaps?
He just tried to get past, but Rune defended it kind of good. Yeah, but now you see the speed difference.
On the outside though, very tricky. Very tricky. Both drivers try and carry very carefully, but Pasm then backs out. I think that's a smart move. Eventually he might catch him. There is a bit of a gap in front of them and behind them, of course, so he should have the patience. Certainly has the straight line speed, so if he just waits for the back straight for the Döttinger Hoa, then he might have a good chance.
So far, Pasm's best result has been P8 in the previous race, which I believe was Monza. So he's already beating that and looking for more.
Jelle Wolters then spins out on his own.
Let's just hope Pasm doesn't do any biggie, because Rune is actually in a position when Simat is making a fault now. Rune is actually in catching distance. Is he? Well, half a minute.
Yeah, half a minute, yeah. Go ahead.
With damage it could be possible. So actually, yeah, Janssen is still in a somewhat position to actually catch up to Simat if he is lucky, but...
Yeah, he certainly needs some luck. Sultano, I'm glad he's still in the race. But of course had some bad luck in this race, but still 15th place. I don't expect him to keep his 3rd place, but of course he wants to keep at least his 4th place, so there's plenty of reason for him to stay in the race. So we do see some fights currently at the front of the field. Tatela under pressure from Rens de Kok. Rens de Kok of course pitted I think a lap later. Don't have that information here, but that's what I remember. And Simar then slowly seems to be sort of driving away from Tatela. And we have this battle still going on. So good strategy call from Pasm, I must say.
Also, when did Petro retire?
Oh, well that was this lap actually. Somewhere on this lap.
Yeah, he's grayed out, so
yeah,
that's it for him. 4th victim for today.
So another one bites the green in this hell.
Also, we're now approaching the 2nd pit stop mark. So if people are doing a 2-stopper, then this is the mark where they're gonna come in.
Yeah, it looks like Wolters already did. I'm not sure if there are any other drivers on the 2-stop.
Good question. I think we saw more than one doing a stop at the 1 hour mark.
Calamite then just got Pisani. Pisani, who was earlier on the back of... Was it Rob Lewis, I think?
Yes. No, it was Sylvain Villet, perhaps, who is now behind Pisani.
And I just got information that Petro got disconnected from the server, unfortunately. So I could say that is a sort of technical issue for him. As Pasm tries it round the outside on Rune Janssens with some aggression. And Rune Janssens keeps his foot in as well. Both go off. Yeah, Pasm eventually got the place, but that wasn't very neat.
Yeah, also Rune flashed lights to make him understand. Maybe he lets him pass, but we will see.
Yeah, although it will probably get sorted in the post-race incidents. And I think surely, even giving the place back wouldn't really help you much. So you might as well just continue driving. Side by side then, Vier and Glubczynski, both the Audis up the hill. And Glubczynski the winner for now.
Also, Blame catching up to Rune quite quickly. Blame did 2 personal bests in Sector 1 and 2, so he's on a really good lap now.
Yeah, looks like it.
Also, Charcot doing sessions purple times in Sector 1 and 2, with Tatela currently having the best time so far with the 8:11.2.
Now you have two McLarens fighting between Mannix and Ronnie Bronson for 17th place. When it goes a bit wide, but keeps it on the track eventually, and yeah, it's a very tricky bit coming up, of course, the whole last section pretty much, and again, if Ronnie Bronson can keep it close to the back of Mannix, then maybe he can make a move on the straight, as both of cars, of course, are McLarens.
Tatela and Rens de Coq have caught up to Philippe Simard. So it's a tight fight again for the bottom 2 podium spots.
And with just 3/10 behind, Tatela can get a bit of a slipstream. It's pretty fast, this Audi. Seems to be closing in a bit.
Yeah, he's closing in.
You see the back of the car getting bigger and puts his car side by side, and then Martin gives a bit of a slipstream to the Coq as well, though he's pretty far away. And fastest lap then indeed for Jacob Charcot with a 8:07.5. That is a blistering lap.
Holy sh...
You can say that, I guess. Or well, you can't, but we know what you mean.
And Tatela then still on a good run from Rens de Coq to get a place back into
exit.
1. Forced to the outside.
Which is inside in turn 2, so if he stays on the outside, he might be lucky.
Yeah.
Ah, no, he can't keep it.
Keeps it safe though.
Good driving.
Philip must be thanking his lucky stars that the 2 guys behind him are fighting each other and not him.
Yeah. Although he can't seem to get rid of them just yet. But imagine that the track has just gotten 100 degrees. Okay, fair enough. It's 15 degrees air temperatures, or 100%, and 15 degrees air temperature. And Charcot with, well, 20 minutes left, so that's 3 more laps worth of fuel. He sets 8:07.5 in a Lamborghini. I mean, with 40 kilograms of ballast, mind you.
Imagine what he could do without ballast.
Yeah.
And with a slightly higher temperature, maybe. I mean, I don't know how the softs are working out because I haven't driven them in practice. Well, we have to ask him after the race, but surely he's on a really good car now. He has no damage. He hasn't did any incident yet. He's on fresh softs and the track is 100% now, so those are perfect conditions for him.
Looks like it indeed. And Timmy ASD I saw in the pits, as well as Glubczynski now, still in the pits. So a couple of 2-stoppers after all. Although Glubczynski did a pit before? He must have. He was on soft tires. So that's 3 purple sectors for Charcot then. And of course the fastest overall lap. And
now entering Flugplatz, Tatela right behind the Coq, who didn't... He ran a bit wide in the entry of the Nordschleife. Though Thomas runs very wide and loses some time.
Yeah. Yeah, Rens de Coq earlier of course overtook Tatela and now seems to be driving away overall a bit. Maybe it's the temperatures. Audi is pretty strong. And I'm also pretty glad to see that Renze Kok and Simar are pretty similar in pace, in the sense that they have been teammates for, well, not for the whole season, but for most of the season. And we have seen usually the Kok a bit further down, but I'm glad to see they are so close, and maybe they can put up a fight later, the two teammates. We have Blame in two wheels on the grass, fighting with Rune Janssens into Vloekplatz.
Oh, this is going to be Blame's chance. Now, fast downhill.
That's very tricky though.
I hope he don't tries it. He could, but no, don't do that.
It's clear what he wants.
Oh, that was a bit messy.
Yeah.
Rune making his car as wide as possible though.
Yeah, although I think the Lamborghini is still a bit wider.
He's getting...
Yeah, is he gonna do anything?
Oh, Rune defends brilliantly.
Yeah.
Rune definitely knows where to put the car, so nobody passes him. And now he should be safe for quite a while until the fast uphill section.
Yeah, for the moment. I'm not sure who stopped later. Who has the fresher tires? Although, is he gonna make it?
Bad exit from Rune.
Now Blame able to go to the inside.
That's it. That's it.
And Rune Janssens has to give up the place, yeah. So that one little moment, yeah, if he got it clean then it would have been alright, but he didn't. Although
you could clearly see that Blame just waited for his opportunity. It was kind of sure that he would pass him.
Yeah, but you still never know, especially with this track.
Sure.
Still the McLarens then, Ronnie Bronson and Mannux fighting, have had the long straight, but Ronnie Bronson hasn't been able to get past. Timmy HD on the two-stop, putting his car side by side on Sylvain Vier, he's faster of course, Vier on medium tires. And
when we see Nico Penanen retiring as well.
Oh, Timmy HD! Spinning around! Oh, hit the grass. Got too far towards the outside. There's a bit of a gap behind him towards Sultan though, who's now coming up to... what's it called again? And the pit window is about to close, so I think everyone then should have stopped, made all his pit stops. So that means that also there's only, well, 17.5 minutes left in this 90-minute race. In the last round of the ACRL GT3 2018 Championship, which of course is already won by Jacob Chakot, who's in first place, set the fastest lap. And there's a massive gap of almost 27 seconds.
Yeah, you can see Thomas trying to get past Simard. He's right up his tail. It's gonna be interesting on the Dettinger Höhe to see if he has more straight line speed than the Audi, though both cars look intact. So yeah.
And
the Audi looks a bit more on the limit actually. It looks like Simard is trying everything to stay in front of Thomas.
Yeah. Did I just miss the passing then of the Kok on Simard?
I think we did, yes.
Because Simard was in second place. They were very close. And now there's a pretty good gap between them.
Almost looks like Simard made a little fault.
Yeah.
Because he was 2 seconds slower in Sector 2 and 1 second slower, well, half a second slower than Renze Kok in Sector 1. So he might have a little slide or something that Renz took as an opportunity.
Yeah, and then in this last section of the Nordschleife, it's not the strongest part of the Nissan. And quite a gap then between him and Simard, and also the speed currently seems about the same if I look at the distance. So yeah, that's giving Thomas a pretty hard time.
Rune Janssen climbs back up to 6th as Blame spins.
I guess he did. Missed that. And we have Glubczynski and Manux. And what has happened between the fight between Manux and Bronson then? Is Bronson...
Oh, and Adder almost losing it on the exit onto the straight, onto the Döttinger Höhe.
Yeah, Bronson then lost 20-ish seconds in the second sector, so must have gone around. And Adder has made his pit stop, unlike what you're seeing in the screen. Although I do think he's still on soft tires.
Rune also has some damage, so I reckon there was some contact maybe?
No, Blame just spun and Rune drove back.
Okay. Because why wouldn't he have repaired it in the pits? I think Janssen didn't have any incident or something after his crash, after his pits. And his car looks, yeah, really messed up.
Adder being a bit free with the track limits on the exit of turn 2. We are looking through the helicam to Adder, and little fun fact, he himself made this possible. So he's been doing quite a bit of work for the Finnish broadcast team as well, but I wanted to show you his work a bit. Although do call me out if something spectacular happens towards the front. Though it does seem pretty close between Simar and Tatala at the moment still. Also Glubczynski and Manux, of course. Glubczynski, I think he's setting his... getting past now, yes he is.
Both giving each other plenty of space, maybe even too much.
See Ronnie Bronson in the pits, but he's quite far behind as he fixed... I think he's fixed some damage. He's just leaving the pits now. And Rune Janssen is now 9.5 seconds behind Pasm.
A very impressive drive from Pasm. He chose a good strategy and made it work. No big mistakes, no drama. Very good drive.
Tatela still behind Simard. This gives the Coq the opportunity to make up some ground and open the gap a bit. It seems Tatela is the same speed as Simard. Looking at times...
yeah, pretty much. They also stopped at the same lap, so...
The first sector was equal, almost equal. 1/10 apart from each other, so... This could be an interesting battle until the end.
Yeah, there's only 10 minutes left.
When you realize that you don't have that much time left to pass.
Yeah.
Thomas might try to go in a bit more aggressive.
Well, let's see if he does. We saw him tangle earlier at Laguna Seca. And Simar making his car wide then.
Oh, this is going to be close.
I see a bit of lag.
Ooh.
Of course, Simar in Canada and Tautala in Finland. A bit of latency between them, but no room to pass just yet.
One both
going
run a bit wider.
Yeah. And Chacot is in 8, so 1.5 minutes left. It will be very tight if they can do 1 more lap or 2 more laps after this.
Chacot might also just slow down in the last step to get it into
plenty
one
of
more lap.
time.
He has a 30-second lead, so he might actually do that.
Yeah. I mean, if he even has the fuel for another lap.
Yeah, that's the big question. If he has, he might go the funny way and annoy some people behind him who thought that it's gonna be 1 lap less.
Yeah, with this pace, who would expect that?
Yeah, many people calculated 11 laps, but if he goes really fast now, he could actually go 12. So that would maybe happens. Yeah, I hope that too, because that would probably overrule some of the strategies maybe many people made. Because in the chat, in the in-game chat, you could see many people writing the expected race length is about 11 laps.
Yeah. Well, some of the drivers might have chosen to add another lap with the fuel, but others maybe not. Bit of oversteer for Blame. Going around, he was so close to Rune Janssens. And then eventually his car spins around. Maybe it's his rear tires heating up. Ederdan very close.
Oh, Sultan on the grass, right behind Villet. Oh, now Sultan spins as well. Big hit.
Eder takes the place and Sultan going backwards. Is he? I'm kind of lost where we are. Yes, he is backwards.
Oh no, he's continuing on.
Yeah, so a large gap in front of Sultan and behind him, so... Let's see, where is Chacot? No, Chacot will not be able to do another lap, so that's 11 laps for sure. Luckily for most drivers. I mean, it would have been insane if he had been able to, I mean... But still...
So now this is going to be the last lap of the season.
Yes, it is. Well, it's a long lap though.
Long lap, but still last lap.
We heard Blame talk about some jitter in his mouth. Maybe that might have been the cause if his mouse is indeed failing, but...
Sounds like a racing driver's excuse. Foot oscillations and such.
It does, yes, it does. But you never know, might take it into consideration. Still sub 8 minute 10 for Chacot on the previous time he crossed the line, so...
I hope he puts in a 7 minute flat and we get 12 laps.
I'm not quite sure, but it looks like Blame has some really slight suspension damage. He has to steer like 5 degrees to the left to drive straight. Maybe that's some netcode thingy, but... his car looks pretty stable still.
Let's look what happens
behind
after.
I don't know.
Yeah. Now on a straight. Yeah. It's hard to say if there's damage or not.
Eder has definitely a slower overall lap time. So if Blame keeps it together for this lap, it could be... He could overtake Eder still.
Yeah. Mannix and Sultan then... Barely enough space. I thought there was a huge gap behind Sultan, but Sultan now lost a lot of time.
Well, he did spin and hit pretty much all the walls of the track.
Right, so it must be
I
damage.
assume his tires were cooked after.
Look how much speed the Lamborghini has.
Yeah, gets into the
You slipped
slipstream and
into
then
the
goes back.
slipstream and right out again.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the McLaren even got beside him. Yeah, now he's just driving away.
So still Tatala is about a second behind Simar, and this being the last lap, I highly doubt that he can make it. Tatala then.
Again, the car lifts off that Flugplatz.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. It's really weird. You'd expect a lot of weight in the front.
I'm also surprised that his car's not bouncing as it gets back onto the track. Because the Ferrari, I mean, I can just talk about the Ferrari because that's the only car I drove in the past year. Well, today. It began to bounce really bad, so you just try to lift a bit so you just don't get some airtime. But he tried to make a really soft front suspension so it doesn't even start to bounce.
Yeah, I need to have the damper set up right, of course. Took me a while to figure it out for the Ferrari. In fact, I think I drove with the wrong damper settings all season pretty much, but yeah. Lubczynski...
also looks...
Sorry, go ahead.
It also looks like Simat is catching up to Renz, the cock. 1.7 seconds. Last lap, the cock was 4 seconds in front, so it's gonna be a three-way fight in this last lap.
Yeah, Renz de Kok did a 3:20 first sector, so lost about 2 and a bit seconds. Might have made a mistake. We have two Ferraris fighting, man with garbage and ACRL. And let's see where Chacot is, going up the hill towards the carousel. To Bergwerk.
I think he showed today that he really deserved this championship. No faults, fastest laps. I mean, I think nobody ever went faster than him except Tatela in his first out lap, or first timed lap after his pit stop. But apart from that, yeah, even though he drove 50 minutes on softs, I mean, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the Lamborghini to be easy on the tires. So I don't really know or remember.
Well, I think from what I saw, the temperature is pretty much ideal right now for the Lamborghini, but still, yeah, I mean, it's 40 kilograms.
Yeah.
And look at the gap.
And Chacot wasn't even sliding on those 50 minutes old softs.
Yeah.
So he did a really good job on handling the car. Though I think Chacot was one of this Eurogamer F1 Classic guys.
Was
I think
he?
he was doing pretty well, yeah. I don't really remember, but I connect his name to that somehow.
Okay.
And I think he was doing pretty...
He did okay, but I think he had a few races where he got into crashes or perhaps disconnects. I also can't remember quite accurately.
Yeah, lots of things happened there.
Oh, and now Chacot
does make a mistake. Well, it's a small one, but...
Next time I just don't say anything about his mistakes or...
Yeah, it's a commentator's curse, isn't it? Does exist.
He's amazing. He's the best. But it has been a very dominant performance today. His fastest lap is 4 seconds faster than the next guy. It's ridiculous.
And I think the time from the Cock, or even Tatela. I think Tatela has the second best time with a 8:11.295. I mean, that's already a really impressive time, even though considering he's in a car that's known for being underperformed in the Nissan. So that's really impressive, and 40 kilos as well. So yeah.
Let's then watch the from Dottinghoe onwards towards the end of this lap with Jacob Chacot. Jacob Chacot has been very, very terrific indeed for the whole season. Has been so consistent. Couple of first places, 2 of them in fact. The only other driver to manage 2 first places was Philippe Simard, and Philippe Simard's season has not been without trouble. And Chacot, the other place that he has was 2nd place and 3rd place, and so this was just pretty much faultless with all this ballast. And yeah, if you look at this race, it's just such a dominant win again. It's amazing to see, and yeah, he already closes down. I don't know if that's a fuel thing or he just went to taunt a bit. In fact, he has run out of fuel, has he? Well, he crosses the line anyway.
No,
he just wanted to make it exciting, I guess.
He was just waiting for the fans.
So congratulations to Chacot for his dominant win and the championship win of the 2018 GT3 championship. It's just amazing. Rens de Kok going through the final chicane in 2nd place. Right behind him is his teammate Philippe Simard and Tatela, then the 2 rivals of Simard and Tatela in Laguna Seca, then finishing very close together. Simard then in front of Tatela.
Oh, and Blame hits the grass. Eder overtakes him again. So that's it for Blame. He was about to finish in 7th, but Eder got it back now. Surely he's annoyed by that.
That was quite a lap then, because Eder was in front of him at the start of the lap. Then
exactly.
And pass him through the final chicane within a very amazing 5th place. Good strategy. He's happy with that.
There's also some fighting going on between Manox and Sultan. Manox right behind him. I don't know what the timing says.
Yeah, he's been behind him for a while. Janssens finishes 6th, and then Eder will probably finish a 7th place as both of the drivers go wide a bit, pick up some dust.
Timing-wise, Manox was a bit faster this lap, but only really small amount. On the straight, he should lose out if Sultan is not going to make a fault. He runs wide.
Calamite finishes in 10th place. Pretty neat recovery. Pisani, the only BMW we have seen this season, as far as I remember, in 11th place. Timmy ASD still 12th. Then we have Sylvain Villiers, who's about to finish 13th if nothing weird happens. But then we have Sultan and Manox with only 1 more straight to go. Let's go to this heli view. Yes, go ahead.
This should be it. If Sultan is not gonna mess up the braking zone, this should be it. There's no chance for Manox to get past. Lamborghini is just so much faster on the straight.
Sounds like the McLaren is topping out in revs. Might be an illusion.
So let's see how they end up. Bronson also right behind Ace Rod, still.
Oh, Manox going wide then.
Oh.
And is he able to maintain a 15th place from Speedman? Speedman who's right behind him. It's a very close finish. But he manages to stay ahead. 15th place for Manox then. 14th for Albert Sultan. We have 16th place for Speedman. Yellow Volt is in 17th. Sorry, what was that?
Okay. Yeah, there's still fighting going on between Ace Rod, Ronnie Bronson, and Man with Garbage. They're all close.
Yeah, pretty close.
Closely matched.
Vega in front
Though I
of
think
them.
Bronson is losing a lot of time on the straights because he was kind of close to the Ferrari.
Yes, he lost about half a second on the first half of the straight. Must have quite a lot of aero damage.
Yeah. Let's see if Man with Garbage keeps it straight. But it looks like it. Also good drive from Man with Garbage. I didn't see him that often in Split 1. I don't remember him in Split 1.
I don't think he was in Split 1 before, so he's happy with his result. Of course, has to carry all that garbage around with him as well, but still.
It's called a Ferrari.
Right.
Ferrari's not bad.
Glubczynski then on 2 laps in 22nd place. So that's it then. What a race. 90 minutes.
What a season.
Yeah.
A fitting end to a spectacular season.
And can we have a race result? Not yet. Maybe in a minute.
Computer says no.
Computer says, we'll see. So, yeah, I want to get some interviews. Let's see if we can get that. Let's go to a trailer again. And then hopefully we'll see you again after that with some interviews and also hopefully the final race results from us. We'll be right back. And welcome back, and with us is Thomas Tautala. Hello, Thomas.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. I think you managed a 4th place today. Is that right?
Yep. I think so.
Are you happy with the result?
I mean, not with the result, but my driving was okay. So, yeah, I was at a disadvantage, so best I could manage.
All right. Well, you had quite a race with Rens de Kok and Philippe Simard during quite a bit of the race. You think you could have had them in the end if maybe you got a bit more lucky?
I don't know. The Audis had better corner speed and better on the straight too, so not much I could do.
All right. And I think you... what don't quite remember how it went. The pit stop phase, I'm trying to figure out. Can you know what? Maybe you can talk us through your race to start with.
Well, quali was difficult. Not the best lap, but yeah, I guess okay. I think I was 9th on the grid. Quite a lot of action on the first lap.
Yeah.
But managed to keep my place and slowly climb up when others made mistakes. Then, yeah, had a fight with Renz and Philip, but there was not much what I could do. They were just too quick in the right places, so I could only follow and wish they would make a mistake, but it didn't happen.
Well, unfortunately, yeah. Well, still, I must say, I think it's a solid drive. Of course, you weren't here for the whole season, which is kind of a shame, but understandable. You and Phil got into a bit of a fight, but nothing happened in the likes of like it happened on Laguna Seca, so I'm kind of glad for that. Pierre, I believe you had a question or two.
Yeah, I have a question. I have 1 or 2 questions from the chat. The first one is tire temperatures. I don't know if you switched to mediums or did you stay on softs? Apart from that, how did tire temperatures work out?
I was on softs the whole way. Temps were pretty good. On the straight they of course dropped a lot, but I could get them up pretty fast. So temps were pretty good. Didn't have much issues with that.
All right. And the second question is, what are you looking forward to do in the off season? Now you've got all the time. Are you going to drive within the Porsche Cup? It's probably going to happen the next Summer Super Cup. Or are you going to go to iRacing, where we know you race a bit more?
Probably iRacing. I don't think I need to really drive here much. And then, of course, at the national championship, I should practice for that too. So I think that's my plans.
All right. I guess then, thanks for the interview and good luck with your national championship.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And Vaffel, did we have someone else lined up, I think?
Puzzle, I think, and Barry Hotter, aka Renz the Cock, is also ready.
Okay, let's start with Pesm then. Pesm, can you hear us?
Yep, loud and clear.
There you are. Well, can I congratulate you with your result? I think you ended up 5th, is that correct?
Yep, that's correct, 5th.
Well, congratulations. Talk us through your race if you want.
Yeah, sure. I started from 10th, I guess. And I got a good start. I got 2 positions, but I started on the medium tires doing anticipating a long stint ahead, taking it on almost 100 liters. And yeah, I guess my plan was to stay out of trouble for as long as I could. And I noticed 2 guys pushing very hard on the GP track of the first lap. So yeah, I got not so defensive into the hairpin there at the bottom of the hill, and it cost me 2 positions. But from there, I was yeah, quite in a groove. Yeah, taking a few positions here and there where others crashed. I did have an unfortunate encounter with Blame in the first lap. I guess he maybe downshifted 1 too many into the area of the Hudson-Bach and was across the track, and I couldn't avoid him anymore. I was trying to drive around the outside of him, and yeah, from the end of my pit stop there in the first stint, I switched to the softs, and then yeah, my pace was good, and I came across Rune, which I was able to keep up with. and I was a bit surprised by the difference in going into the uphill section, into the carousel and the mood curve. And yeah, normally I stay in 5th, but I could go to 6th there and go on the left-hand side of him.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately we had some contact.
Yeah, I saw that, and well, you got away after that. I think you drove away by 11 seconds or so, which is very decent. But yes, best result so far then, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really happy with it. Unfortunately, yeah, I have to apologize to Rune for that overtake. Might have cost him some damage, but yeah, I'm very happy overall with the result.
Excellent, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that in the post-race incidents. But yeah, another question is about tires, because you started on medium tires then. How would the temp? I mean, couldn't have been, you know, must have been graining and all that.
Yeah, it was manageable, but it was very difficult on the GP track after the long straights.
Yeah.
Because yeah, once I was on the more curvy bits, I could create temperature, which I didn't expect going into practice today with such low temperatures. But yeah, once I got into the groove, I got them to work. But it was really hairy in the first few corners of the GP track.
Yeah. All right. Pierre, got another question lined up?
I could just ask the questions we asked.
Yeah, I mean, I just asked about tires.
What we also have in mind is, what was your most challenging moment of the season? Do you remember any?
The series, you mean? The whole season?
Yeah, the whole season, the whole GT3 stuff.
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, for me, the first few races were more where I was more struggling, also getting to grips with the Audi, not having driven it a lot. But yeah, for me, it's always the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife. That's my nemesis, my mecca. So just being this sheer challenge of getting around that track is probably my highlight.
I think that's a nice answer.
And another question: with the possible Super Cup, the Porsche Super Cup 2 coming up this summer, I don't know if you heard of it or heard of the first one. Are you going to compete in that, or what else are you going to do in the off season? Maybe start or continue with iRacing, stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard of the first season, and yeah, I'm a fan of the car, so I guess I'll check it out. Probably do a few races. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome stuff, man. So thank you for your interview, and I guess have a nice evening.
Yeah, have a nice evening. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Who's next? Do we
I think it's
get
Rens,
Rens?
isn't it?
Yeah. Let's get Rens over here. Rens, welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening. Second place? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect anything like this at all. I was really off the pace in pre-qualifying after I was out of the running for at least a month due to real-life commitments. So I couldn't race at all in ACRL. So coming back to the Nürburgring, Nordschleife was quite a big challenge for me to get accustomed to Assetto Corsa again. So yeah, really happy with P2.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, you drove the Audi. I think you had two soft tire stints. How were the softs for you?
Initially, before the start of the race, I didn't know yet whether or not I would go for a one-stopper or a two-stopper. That depended on how the tires would feel after I had completed the 4th lap. But after 4 laps, I felt pretty confident in the tires. They were holding up pretty well. It got a bit slidey, but lap times didn't drop down or didn't drift massively. So the tires hold up fine, and decided to go for another 2 laps and do a one-stopper. That worked out pretty fine. I decided even to do the first stint on 6 laps.
Yeah.
And the last stint on 5 laps, just in case we would do 12 laps. I couldn't imagine we would, but at least that would give me a little bit more tire to spare.
Yeah, it seems like a very smart choice. You were a bit quicker towards the end compared to Philippe and Thomas Tatela. Also, we talked about it for a moment, actually, if it was going to be 12 laps, but in the end, Jacob was just not fast enough, shall we say. But you had quite a bit of a battle towards the end of the race, or the last quarter of the race, with Simar and Tatela. Can you tell us what happened?
In the 6th lap, so my last lap of the stint, the tires were pretty much dying at that point, so I lost some time with that, and I fueled perhaps for 1 liter to fuel of the race. I imagined I would burn up 12.5 liters per lap, but it turned out to be a little bit more. Driving through the first to save a little bit of fuel just to get to the pit stop. I lost some time in the 6th lap. Gave and Thomas the opportunity to leapfrog me by quite a bit. Actually, I think they pulled a 5-second gap at one point, or at least that's what I lost in the laps.
Yeah.
But yeah. Overall, I think I just was the quicker guy. I have to admit I had no ballast this race, so that was a huge plus for me. If I had the same amounts of ballast that Jakub, Philip and Thomas had, I wouldn't be in this position at all. So I think it worked out pretty good for me, which I'm glad of. You know, the season was pretty tough for me. I got a lot of ballast in the early. Wasn't always up to pace. In the first races, so to finish it off with 0 ballast with such a result, yeah, feels pretty good.
Excellent. Yeah, I must say, I think it was an excellent drive despite the 40 kilograms of weight difference, but still, yeah, excellent driving and result in the end.
Yeah, I like I said in the beginning, I didn't expect this at all. I had very few laps of practice, getting used to Assetto Corsa again after such a long time.
Yeah,
it just worked out this time, so I'm really happy with that.
Excellent. And Pierre, want to do your questions?
Yeah, I have some more community questions. We asked the chat, the YouTube chat, what they want to ask, and I have some questions about stuff like the most challenging moment of the season. I mean, you said you didn't do many of the races, but do you remember any point that sticks out for you?
I think the most challenging race in itself was Laguna Seca, where the Audi had a huge disadvantage in tire strategy. It was really hot that race, and none of the tires really worked for us. So our strategy was to play the track position game, which wasn't all that good. Again, I had a lot of ballast, so I started very back on the grid, but made up quite a few positions due to other incidents. But I think the most challenging race at all was Barcelona, which is also one of my favorite races, where again the temperatures were so high that the Audi had to run on hard tires because no other tire would last all race. So that was quite a big challenge, knowing that you were on the hardest tire with the least grip, trying to make it 75 minutes. That was quite a challenge.
Yeah, I imagined Barcelona to be hard on the tires, as I raced there as well. Another question regarding the future. Now that we have the Porsche Cup, then the new one coming up, which is kind of probable because it seems to be a bit late this summer.
Yes.
You're going to drive there, or you're going to do more iRacing or something else?
Well, to be absolutely honest with everybody, I was considering this to be one of my last seasons here at ACRL, just because after 4 or 5 years with Assetto Corsa, I'm kinda burned out on it. So I absolutely love the community. It has nothing to do with that, but at the moment I feel more comfortable with iRacing indeed, and driving the more challenging endurance races that I do there with a few other of us. Made me decide, or is probably going to make me decide, that I'm not going to be driving the Porsche Cup. I'll still be around here in the community always, but I'm not driving.
Right.
All right, man. I think that's a really rateable decision, I guess. So yeah, thank you for driving. Thank you for the interview, and I guess have a nice evening with the second place.
Yeah, thank you for broadcasting this whole season. I also want to thank Philippe Simard, my teammate for this season, for putting in basically all the hard work regarding the setups at the least. I mean, there were 2 weeks between each race, but after the race, he was always back at the factory working on the next setup. And before pre-qualifying started, and I was there to give it a little bit of attention, I already had the setup in my mailbox, so that was pretty nice. Thank you, Phil, for that.
We'll give that to him. Yeah, thanks for joining us from me as well, and well, see you around.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So yeah, I think that's the interviews for now. Or do we have someone who really wants to be interviewed? Does any of you know?
I'm gonna check the sim racing thread, but I don't think there's any. Maybe we could ask Rune, but I guess he... I mean, yeah, the interesting race. Or Adder, maybe. I mean, we could just ask.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write.
Do it. I'll just show a little trailer meanwhile. 50 seconds, we'll be back. And we're back after this short break, and Adder is here with us. Hello, Adder. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello, and welcome back.
Oh, it's good to be back. I was sweaty.
I imagine so, after 90 minutes of that track. Yeah, you ended up, I think it was 7th place, not too shabby.
Yeah, I'm reasonably happy with my position that I ended up with. I think I actually had the same kind of race pace as Pasm, but I just kind of made a few mistakes. It didn't ever cost me positions, really, but just a bit of on-track time.
All right. Where did you qualify? I don't quite remember.
Miles down, 15th, maybe?
All right.
Yeah, I made the mistake. I thought everybody would kind of, because there's so long a track, I thought everybody would space out as they drove around the lap. So I left it so that I could just not see the car in front of me. It was just disappearing ahead around the corners. And then when we got into the back straight, they'd all backed up again. So I managed to get my first lap in okay, but then I'd caught a couple of cars and I then dropped it and just lost the chance to improve.
Yeah. But then from 15th place to 7th, how did that happen?
Most of the places I picked up at the start were just from people having their own accidents and things. Like I ended up in front of Rune because he had that big spin on the front straight, and a couple of guys who I was actually racing with in terms of track time, like Nico and Tom in the Audi, had their own little offs, and ended up in my own little gap. Rune was right in my tail, and there was a couple of guys ahead, but I had a little stutter and then went into the wall, so I ended up behind those guys, but then in my own little gap.
Right. Yeah, we saw many incidents happen. I think you were on a double soft tire strategy, correct?
Yeah, we just pitted at the end of lap 6, like when the leaders were coming through, because I think they pitted on lap 5, Phil and Thomas.
Right. Yeah.
I was planning on letting Phil through as soon as he caught me. I was just keeping an eye on him because I didn't want to get dive bombed in all of those twisty corners, and I knew I'd be so slow on my old tyres. So I let him through, but then Thomas, I didn't even realise he was a few seconds behind, and he just caught me so quickly. It just completely surprised me. I nearly had a bit of an accident, but that managed to let him get through.
All right. Where was that on track? 'Cause it was nearing the end of the track, I remember.
Yeah, it was just so I let Phil through after the carousel,
Yeah.
and Thomas caught me then just after the dip, the jump.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so he caught me into those fast lefts
Yeah.
and rights, but I just kept my car in the air and lifted out of the throttle.
Scary for sure. Yeah. So tires were all right then? In
Yeah,
general?
tried it on the practice server, and yeah, it seemed okay. I didn't think it cost 2 to 3 seconds a lap. I was kind of finding being on the worn tires, but I didn't have an issue with the car being undrivable. You just have to take it careful in the very flat out corners, but just have a bit of an extra lift. But other than that, was fine.
Okay. Pierre, if you're still there,
I'm still there.
You can answer the questions.
So yeah, we captured some questions from the YouTube chat from the other viewers, and some of the questions were like your most challenging moment of the season, if you remember it.
Oh, such a long season.
Exactly.
I think probably the start at VIR, because I'd qualified well and I was up there with all of I was up in like 3rd or 4th, and I was just so nervous. And then I did bottle it at the end of the first lap, so I succumbed to that pressure.
And also another question regarding the close future. Now that we know that the Porsche Super Cup, the Summer Super Cup, is a pretty thing we can count on. What are you going to do in the summer? Are you going to maybe iRacing? Are you going to do Porsche Cup or something else? Or just chill out and don't do any racing? Just enjoy the summer
Who knows?
or whatever?
Yeah, I might. I don't know what I'll do. I'll probably do a couple of races, but not all of them, and just take it easy a bit. It would be nice to kind of do a few more tweaks and improvements to the stream app and things, but I kind of feel at this point putting that much extra time in it with ACC around the corner isn't really worth it.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, I mean, we have to say that today I think we didn't have many big issues with the streaming app. I think, was there any buzz?
Well, we had a couple of weird contradicting information regarding tires, but that's I think all.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of normal. I think there wasn't every race there were some tires off. But yeah, I think we should say thanks to you for supporting us with the
Definitely.
with the app and stuff. I think for such a league for us, it's a really good thing to work with.
Yeah, it's good. I just like to do these kind of things, so it's fun for me to do, as well as it giving us something that's quite different to everybody else.
Yeah, it's quite unique and it works well and it just looks great. So yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations with your 7th place today, and do we leave it with that for the interviews for now?
I think Rune wanted to say something. I'm gonna ask him.
Okay.
Well, I'll just say thanks for doing all of these streams, Bass. It's
sure.
been great having them. So thanks a lot for
Cool.
choosing not to drive and to do this instead.
Yeah, no problem. I like doing it, and it's nice that people get excited about it. So, all right. Anyway, I'm gonna drag you out of here, Eder. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so Rune says he's up for some talking.
Okay. Well, if Rune says he's up for some talking, let's hear it.
Well, what you want to know?
There he is. What do we want to know? Let's start with your race. How was your race?
Well, my race was pretty terrible. I think this was about as bad as it could go for me. Like, this was the worst case scenario.
Well, I mean, Albert finished behind you, so it's not the worst.
Yeah, but if you see how good my start was and all that, like nothing worked out today, so that was kind of frustrating.
Talk us through it, please.
Well, I had a very good launch, and I think I was actually by Phil before we even reached turn 1.
Yeah, right.
And then I got a tap in turn 1 from Phil, which sent me wide, and he regained the position. So that was kind of annoying.
Then throughout the Nordschleife, I was just stuck behind him. I couldn't get by him, despite being faster. So that kind of got on my nerves. And then on the straight leading up to the start-finish line, I got hit by I think it's an Audi at 280 kilometers per hour, sending me spinning. And from there on out, I had to recover, but I couldn't actually because my tires were destroyed because of the spin. So
it was pretty close there. All of a sudden, we had you and we had Phil, I think, and Rens maybe was there, and Thomas.
I think it was Calamite because he dropped even further than me, but he tried to squeeze between Rens and me, and he probably thought he cleared me, but he didn't.
Right.
And he cut me off, and we just went spinning at 280 kilometers per hour. So that was not ideal on lap 1.
Very unfortunate indeed. But then, well, I think after that you did all right until there was a battle with, was it Blame? What's the end?
Yeah, I don't know. I was recovering pretty decently because people just kept falling off the track in front of me.
Yeah.
And in the end, I just decided to. I was gonna try to do a 2-stop or a 1-stop and extend my first stint. But because of the way my tires were damaged, because of the lap 1 spin, I realized I couldn't actually do the 2-stop because I would drop too far back into the pack. So I switched my strategy to like getting mediums and driving on those for an hour.
Right. Yeah.
But my tires were just like 55 Celsius at the front all race, so I had no pace anymore.
Yeah, and at that moment, I think it was Pasm who had passed the tires. That was what happened with Pasm.
Yeah, he tried to pass, and he misjudged his braking, I think. And he got right in front of me, which I kind of wasn't too happy about. And he just took us both out in that corner, so even more damage for me. So that wasn't the best race.
Well, you certainly weren't the only one with damage, that's for sure.
Yeah, I could kind of guess that, but there was so much more, especially with the pace I showed in qualifying. I didn't have the best of laps, so I knew I could be fighting for P2 at least.
Right.
Kind of disappointing the way it ended and how quickly it ended.
Yeah. Got that. And then our community questions.
Yeah, our community questions. As I said to everybody else, we asked the chat for some questions. Well, I did. And first question is your most challenging moment of the season. Can you remember any? Was it today? Was it some other race?
The most challenging moment was Monza, because I had no pace there, and I needed a good result to stay at least near Albert in the championship. So that was kind of, that whole race was just a challenging moment in itself. But yeah, all in all, I think that was kind of the hardest race for me.
Okay. And the last question, we know you're organizing the new Summer Super Cup. Can you give us any secret hints on when maybe when it's going to start, and what tracks we're going to see, or you're going to keep this shut and just wait for the announcement to come out?
Maybe some setup tips.
Yeah, I can tell you a couple of things about that. First of all, is that we're going to run a slightly adjusted version of the Porsche, because we found out that the front springs were actually a quarter of the stiffness they should be. So we fixed that ourselves behind the scenes. So you won't have that stupid bouncy car anymore.
Yeah, Fritz got his elbows out.
Yep. So that's fixed. Yeah, what you want to know when it starts? It should start in 3 weeks.
Okay.
22nd of July.
You heard it here first, people.
Yeah. So that's when the next season starts. I think there's a couple of very interesting tracks, but you have to wait for that to see.
A couple of interesting tracks. Well, today we had an interesting track, so that's one.
Yeah, this one won't be coming back though. I'll tell you. I can tell you that much.
Okay.
So we have another community question coming up from the chat. It's from a user called Fritz.
I'm not sure what to think of that guy. He kind of cost us P4 yesterday, so I don't know.
He asked, how did you finish when you got more than 17 incident points just then?
Yeah, I think I'm in good graces with Jackie Stewart, so that should help.
All right, man. Thank you for the interview, and I guess have a nice evening then. And see you in the Summer Super Cup.
Yeah, thank you for broadcasting, guys, all season and stuff. So I've really enjoyed the broadcast, so just
Yeah.
wanted to throw it out there.
All right. Thanks. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So that was Rune Janssens, and yeah, I want to say we can get more people, but I can't drag them in here.
I think it's enough.
Okay. Yeah, it is last chance, people. If you're watching this, you want to be interviewed, join us now.
Discord ACRL. You can find it on reddit.com/r/ACRL.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, of course, you can join ACRL. Go to the Reddit. There are links in the description. Go to the Reddit or Discord, and you can join. You can sign up and all that. So there will be a Porsche Super Cup. There will also be some off-season races between now and then. So plenty of fun, and I think we'll keep going for a while. And ACC isn't out yet, so ACRL isn't dead or anything. So join us if you want. And there are different levels of drivers, and there's always some matches, except when you're named Jacob Chakot, of course. But other than that, you should be fine. So there you go. Yeah.
Anything more to say?
Yeah, this is all dead air now. I see a good from Blame, so come on. There you go. One more try. Okay, very short try. We'll be right back. That was the sound of a Porsche Super Cup. Just so you know. No, I think we'll leave it at that then. Thank you very much for watching this season, and thank you very much for the 26 people who are still watching us right now. And hopefully, maybe we'll be back in some form sooner or later. We'll see. But in any case, there's going to be a Porsche Super Cup. Pierre Schlager, thank you for joining me.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Vavel, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Sorry, Pierre, what was that?
It was actually my first time actually doing a broadcast, so...
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember when I did another broadcast, so...
Well, you made it. You're here now. You've made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made it, yes.
You're a star.
But it was fun, yeah. I would do it again.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, well, thanks for joining me, and it was fun having you both here. I like this sort of three. Yeah, it's good.
It was good, yeah. Also, thanks to you that you managed to broadcast every race of the season. I think you did a great job being here every time, having the time to prepare and stuff. As I found out today, there's a lot of preparation going on.
Yeah, there is, but I won't go into details.
Was racing really that boring? Were you really so much faster than everyone?
No, not at all. I mean, I won the season by 1 point from Rune. So now it's not so much boring. It's more like having to do all this practicing and
So you pulled the Rosberg and retired while you were ahead.
Exactly.
Nice.
That's how you do it. So they remember me as that fast guy, like this mystery. No, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll do we'll see. I'm gonna end it here because we're just no one's watching anymore.
Yeah, we're already broadcasting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, something.
Yeah,
well,
three and a half almost. Yeah.
3. Wait.
Yeah, that we're live. I mean, we've been here before, of course. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm bad at counting. Yeah, that's it.
That's always wrong. Okay. So again, thanks everyone for watching, and see you next season, hopefully, whatever, ACRL, subreddit, etc., etc. Okay. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.